In the quiet hours when the world grows still and shadows lengthen across familiar walls, we find ourselves drawn once more into the timeless realm where legends walk among mortals and ancient powers stir beneath starlit skies. As you settle into the gentle embrace of twilight, perhaps you might share in a whispered comment which legendary creature calls to your dreams most strongly tonight. Now let us drift together through the vast tapestry of myth and mystery that surrounds the most extraordinary beings ever to grace the Pokémon world. Long before humans walked the earth with Pokeballs at their side, before cities rose from fertile plains and roots connected distant lands, the universe itself was but a swirling void of potential energy, waiting to be shaped by forces beyond mortal comprehension. In this primordial darkness, where time had no meaning and space held no boundaries, the first stirrings of creation began to manifest through the will of an entity so profound that its very existence defies complete understanding. Arceus, known to those who study the deepest lore as the original one, emerged from nothingness itself, birthed from an egg that appeared in the chaos without cause or creator. This being of pure creative force possessed within its luminous form the power to shape reality according to its divine will. The golden wheel that adorns its body contains 16 sacred plates, each one representing a fundamental type of energy that would later flow through all living creatures. These plates are not mere ornaments, but fragments of the universe's essential nature, crystallized into physical form so that the world might maintain its delicate balance. The creation myth speaks of how Arceus, in its infinite wisdom, recognized that the void required structure and meaning. With deliberate care, it began to weave the fabric of existence, first calling forth two beings of immense power to serve as the pillars upon which all reality would rest. Dialga emerged first, its metallic blue form gleaming with temporal energy as it took dominion over the flow of time itself. Every second that passes, every moment that transitions from present to past, falls under Dialga's eternal watch. Its heartbeat marks the rhythm of causality, ensuring that events unfold in their proper sequence and that the stream of time flows ever forward. Alongside Dialga came Palkia, resplendent in pearl-like pink and white, granted mastery over the dimensions of space. Where Dialga governs when events occur, Palkia determines where they may take place. The very concept of distance, the ability for matter to exist in distinct locations, the separation between here and there, all of these fundamental aspects of reality spring from Palkia's influence. Together, these two legendary beings maintain the framework within which all existence operates, their eternal dance ensuring that space and time remain in harmonious balance. But Arceus's work was far from complete. Recognizing that a world of pure physical law would lack the spark of consciousness necessary for true meaning, the original one shaped a third being to complete the cosmic trinity. Giratina, draped in shadow and gold, was granted dominion over antimatter and the spaces between spaces. This ghostly dragon was meant to provide balance to the material world, representing the void that gives definition to substance, the darkness that makes light meaningful. However, Giratina's violent nature and destructive tendencies proved incompatible with the delicate balance Arceus sought to maintain. In a decision that would echo through eternity, the original one banished Giratina to the reverse world, a mirror dimension where the rules of physics bend and twist in impossible ways. In this strange realm, Giratina became both prisoner and guardian, watching over the boundary between the world of the living and the realm of antimatter. The reverse world serves as a pressure valve for reality itself, absorbing the negative emotions and destructive forces that might otherwise tear apart the fabric of existence. Giratiga's exile was not merely punishment, but a necessary sacrifice, ensuring that the material world could flourish while still maintaining connection to the primordial chaos from which it emerged. With the fundamental forces of reality established, Arceus turned its attention to filling the cosmos with wonders that would inspire and nurture the life forms yet to come. The creation of the Lake Trio marked a pivotal moment in the development of consciousness throughout the universe. Uxie, the being of knowledge, was granted the power to bestow wisdom and learning upon all creatures. Its closed eyes contained such vast repositories of information that to gaze upon them directly would overwhelm any mortal mind with infinite knowledge. Uxie's influence touches every moment of discovery, every flash of understanding, every gradual accumulation of wisdom that allows beings to grow and evolve beyond their original limitations. Mesprit, the being of emotion, received the sacred duty of nurturing the capacity for feeling in all living things. Love and hatred, joy and sorrow, hope and despair, all of these emotional states that give life its richness and meaning flow from Mesprit's gentle influence. This pink-haired, pixie-like being ensures that existence consists of more than mere mechanical processes, that creatures can form bonds, experience beauty, and find motivation beyond simple survival instincts. Azelf, the being of willpower, completes the trinity of consciousness by providing the determination and drive necessary for beings to act upon their knowledge and emotions. Without Azelf's influence, creatures would remain passive observers of existence, unable to make choices or pursue goals. This blue guardian of volition ensures that consciousness includes not just awareness and feeling, but also the power to shape one's own destiny through deliberate action. These three lake guardians were scattered across the world, taking residence in bodies of water that would become sacred sites for future generations. Their presence in these locations creates focal points where the energies of mind, heart, and will converge, occasionally manifesting in phenomena that hint at the deeper mysteries underlying all existence. As eons passed and the basic structure of reality solidified, other legendary beings began to emerge, each fulfilling specific roles in the grand design. The Weather Trio arose to govern the fundamental forces that would shape the planet's surface and atmosphere. Kyogre, the massive whale-like entity of the deep seas, took dominion over all bodies of water, from the smallest streams to the vast oceans that would cover most of the world's surface. Its power extends beyond mere water manipulation to encompass the entire hydrological cycle, the currents that distribute heat around the globe, and the delicate balance of moisture that makes life possible on land. Gruden, Kyogre's terrestrial counterpart, claimed authority over the solid earth itself. This enormous creature's influence shapes continents, raises mountain ranges, and creates the stable landmasses upon which surface-dwelling life forms would eventually flourish. The tension between Kyogre and Groudon represents the eternal struggle between sea and land, each force constantly working to expand its domain while maintaining the delicate balance necessary for a habitable world. Above them, both soars Rayquaza, the emerald dragon of the sky, serving as mediator between these primordial forces. When Kyogre and Gruden's conflicts threaten to destabilize the planet, Rayquaza descends from its lofty realm in the ozone layer to restore harmony. This serpentine guardian's presence in the upper atmosphere also protects the world below from cosmic threats, using its mastery over air currents and atmospheric pressure to maintain the delicate envelopes of gases that sustains life. The interplay between these three legendary beings established the basic environmental conditions that would allow countless species to emerge and thrive. Their ongoing influence can be felt in every rainstorm and drought, every earthquake and hurricane, every gentle breeze and scorching desert wind. They are not merely powerful Pokémon, but living embodiments of the natural forces that shape our world on both grand and intimate scales. In the depths of time, as these primordial forces continued their eternal dance, other legendary beings began to manifest in response to specific needs and circumstances. The psychic cats Mew and Mewtwo represent perhaps the most poignant example of how legendary status can emerge from both natural evolution and artificial intervention. Mew, floating serenely through ancient forests with its pink, feline form, carries within its genetic structure the blueprint for all Pokémon life. This playful yet mysterious creature possesses the remarkable ability to transform into any other Pokémon, suggesting that it may indeed be the common ancestor from which all other species evolved. The discovery of Mew's extraordinary genetic properties led ambitious researchers to attempt the creation of an even more powerful being through scientific manipulation. The result was Mewtwo, a creature of immense psychic ability, born not from natural processes, but from human ambition and technological prowess. This artificial, legendary being's existence raises profound questions about the nature of power, consciousness, and the responsibility that comes with the ability to create life itself. Mewtwo's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pursuing power without wisdom, yet it also demonstrates the potential for artificial beings to develop genuine consciousness and moral reasoning. The purple humanoid's journey from weapon to autonomous being illustrates that legendary status need not be reserved only for creatures born from natural or divine processes. As we drift deeper into these ancient mysteries, we encounter beings whose origins stretch back to the very formation of the planet itself. The legendary birds of Kanto, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres represent the elemental forces of ice, lightning, and fire, respectively. These majestic avians serve as guardians of their respective elements, ensuring that the fundamental energies of cold, electricity, and heat remain available to sustain the complex web of life that depends upon their careful balance. Articuno's crystalline blue form brings the gift of preservation through freezing, allowing life to endure through harsh winters and providing the ice that shapes landscapes through glacial action. Its presence in the world ensures that the cycle of seasons continues, that water can exist in all its phases, and that the cooling influence of winter provides necessary rest periods for countless species. Zapdos crackles with the electrical energy that powers both natural phenomena and, in later eras, technological advancement. The spiky yellow thunderbird's influence extends from the lightning that enriches soil through nitrogen fixation to the bioelectrical processes that allow neurons to fire and muscles to contract. Without Zapdos' contribution to the world's electrical systems, life as we know it could not exist. Moltres burns with the eternal flame that provides warmth and energy to sustain life processes. This magnificent firebird's influence touches everything from the sun's rays that drive photosynthesis to the metabolic fires that burn within every living cell. Its presence ensures that the chemical reactions necessary for life continue to proceed at the proper rates and intensities. Together, these three legendary birds maintain the elemental balance that allows for the incredible diversity of environments found throughout the world. Their eternal flight patterns create currents of energy that distribute these fundamental forces across vast distances, ensuring that no region remains completely devoid of any essential element for extended periods. The depths of the ocean hold secrets that predate even these elemental guardians, where Lugia dwells in the crushing darkness of oceanic trenches. This silver-white psychic flying type serves as the master of the seas, its massive wings capable of generating storms powerful enough to reshape coastlines with a single beat. Yet Lugia chooses restraint, understanding that its tremendous power must be wielded with the utmost care. The gentle giant's self-imposed exile to the ocean's depths reflects a profound wisdom about the responsibility that comes with overwhelming strength. Lugia's presence stabilizes the world's weather patterns, its psychic abilities reaching across vast distances to influence atmospheric pressure and oceanic currents. When the legendary bird's elemental energies threaten to spiral out of control, creating destructive storms or unnatural weather phenomena, Lugia emerges from its watery sanctuary to restore harmony. The creature's song, a haunting melody that carries across both air and water, serves as a form of communication that transcends normal sensory boundaries. This ethereal music can calm raging tempests, soothe frightened creatures, and even reach into the dreams of sleeping beings to provide guidance and comfort. Perhaps you might share in a quiet comment which legendary creature you find most fascinating as you settle into tonight's rest, letting that thought carry you deeper into these ancient tales. The connection between Lugia and the sea runs deeper than mere habitat preference, for the ocean itself serves as a repository of the planet's memories. Water, in its endless circulation through clouds, rain, rivers, and seas, carries with it traces of every place it has touched, every life it has sustained. Lugia's psychic abilities allow it to access these liquid memories, granting the legendary Pokémon an understanding of the world's history that spans geological epochs. This oceanic wisdom makes Lugia not just a guardian of weather, but a keeper of planetary knowledge. High above the clouds, where the atmosphere grows thin and the boundary between sky and space becomes blurred, Ho-Oh soars on rainbow-colored wings that shimmer with an inner light. This magnificent phoenix embodies the concept of renewal and rebirth, its very presence bringing hope to those who witness its rare appearances. The golden and red plumage of Ho-Oh reflects the sunlight in ways that create spectacular displays of color, often appearing as rainbow bridges that span the sky. These optical phenomena serve as beacons of inspiration, reminding observers that even the darkest night eventually gives way to dawn. Ho-Oh possesses the remarkable ability to resurrect the deceased, though this power is not wielded carelessly. The rainbow Pokemon understands that death and rebirth are part of a natural cycle, and its resurrections typically serve to restore balance rather than simply reverse loss. When Ho-Oh chooses to bring a being back to life, that creature often returns with enhanced abilities or a deeper understanding of their purpose. This gift of second chances reflects the Phoenix's role as a symbol of hope and transformation, showing that apparent endings can become new beginnings. The sacred fire that Ho-Oh commands burns with properties unlike ordinary flame. This mystical fire purifies rather than destroys, cleansing negative energy and healing spiritual wounds. The warmth of sacred fire can melt the coldest heart, inspire courage in the most fearful soul, and kindle the spark of life in barren places. Travelers who encounter Ho-Oh often report feeling renewed purpose and inner peace, as if the legendary Pokemon's presence has burned away their doubts and fears. Beneath the Earth's surface, in caverns and tunnels that honeycomb the planet's crust, Celebi guards the flow of time itself. This small, fairy-like creature appears deceptively delicate, its pale green body and translucent wings giving it an almost ethereal quality. Yet within Celebi's diminutive form lies one of the most profound powers in existence, the ability to travel through time and ensure that the timeline remains stable. The time travel Pokemon serves as a guardian of causality, preventing paradoxes and temporal disruptions that could unravel the fabric of reality. Celebi's relationship with forests extends beyond simple habitat preference. The time travel Pokemon understands that trees, with their rings marking the passage of years, serve as living records of temporal flow. Ancient forests become focal points where Celebi can most easily access different time periods, using the accumulated temporal energy stored within old-growth trees as anchor points for its journeys. When Celebi appears in a forest, that woodland often experiences accelerated healing, with damaged areas regenerating at supernatural speeds as the Pokemon draws on future growth potential to restore present vitality. The gentle creature's time travel abilities allow it to witness the consequences of present actions, making Celebi uniquely qualified to guide others toward choices that will benefit future generations. This prophetic insight manifests not as direct intervention, but as subtle influences that nudge events toward more positive outcomes. A seed that falls in just the right spot, a chance meeting between important individuals, a moment of inspiration that leads to a breakthrough discovery. Those seemingly random events often bear Celebi's invisible touch. In the deepest parts of the ocean, where sunlight has never penetrated and pressure would crush surface dwellers, ancient beings astir in their timeless slumber. Kyogre, the massive whale-like Pokemon of primordial seas, embodies the raw power of water in its most fundamental form. This leviathan's blue hide bears markings that glow with bioluminescent patterns, creating an otherworldly beauty in the abyssal darkness. Kyogre's very presence expands the oceans, its ability to summon endless rainfall capable of flooding entire continents. The Sea Basin Pokemon represents water not as a gentle, life-giving force, but as an overwhelming deluge that can reshape the world's geography through sheer volume and persistence. The relationship between Kyogre and the planet's water cycle extends far beyond simple weather control. This legendary being serves as a living embodiment of the hydrological processes that distribute moisture across the globe. When Kyogre stirs from its deep sea rest, ocean currents shift, atmospheric moisture increases, and the very chemistry of seawater can change. The creature's influence reaches into underground aquifers, polar ice caps, and atmospheric water vapor, making it a truly global force of nature. Deep within the Earth's mantle, where rock flows like liquid and temperatures reach unimaginable extremes, Groudon slumbers in chambers of molten stone. This massive, dinosaur like Pokémon embodies the terrestrial forces that build continents and raise mountain ranges. Groudon's red hide bears patterns that pulse with internal heat, and its footsteps can trigger volcanic eruptions or cause new land masses to rise from the seafloor. The continent Pokémon represents the Earth's creative power, the geological processes that provide solid ground for life to inhabit. Groudon's ability to expand land masses serves as a counterbalance to Kyogre's oceanic dominion. When these two primordial forces clash, their conflict shapes the very structure of the world, determining the ratio of land to sea that will define entire epics. The drought that Groudon brings does not merely represent the absence of water, but the concentration of solar energy and geothermal heat that drives the chemical and physical processes necessary for soil formation and mineral creation. High in the stratosphere, where the atmosphere becomes a thin veil between Earth and space, Rayquaza maintains its eternal vigil. This serpentine dragon of emerald green serves as mediator between the terrestrial and oceanic forces, ensuring that neither Kyogre's nor Groudon's influence becomes so dominant as to make the planet uninhabitable. Rayquaza's elongated body allows it to coil through the upper atmosphere with incredible grace, its presence stabilizing air currents and atmospheric composition. The sky-high Pokémon feeds on meteoroids and atmospheric particles, converting space debris into energy while protecting the planet's surface from cosmic impacts. Rayquaza's role as peacekeeper between the legendary Titans requires not just tremendous power, but also profound wisdom about the delicate balance necessary for life to flourish. The dragon's ability to mega evolve without requiring external stones suggests a level of self-actualization that transcends normal evolutionary processes. This transformation represents Rayquaza's complete mastery over its own nature, allowing it to access even greater power when the planet's stability hangs in the balance. The green serpent's roar can be heard across dimensional boundaries, serving as both warning and summons to those who would disturb the cosmic order. The ancient myths speak of a time before time when the universe itself was but a swirling void of potential energy waiting to be shaped into reality. From this primordial emptiness emerged Arceus, the original one, whose very existence gave birth to the concepts of space, time, and antimatter. This luminous being, adorned with a golden wheel that seems to contain the essence of creation itself, stands as the closest thing to a true deity that the Pokémon world has ever known. Arceus shaped the fundamental forces of reality through sheer will, its 1,000 arms reaching across dimensions to weave the fabric of existence. The creation myth tells us that Arceus first brought forth Dialga, the master of temporal flow, whose every heartbeat marks the passage of moments, and whose breath gives substance to the river of time that flows through all dimensions. Dialga's metallic blue form bears crystalline structures that resonate with temporal frequencies, allowing the steel and dragon type to manipulate the very speed at which events unfold. When Dialga roars, it can slow time to a crawl or accelerate it beyond normal perception, making minutes feel like hours or compressing years into seconds. Alongside Dialga came Palkia, the spatial one, whose pink and pearl white form exists partially outside normal dimensional boundaries. Palkia's shoulder ornaments serve as anchors to different planes of reality, allowing it to fold space like origami and create passages between distant locations. The water and dragon type's ability to manipulate space extends beyond simple teleportation, encompassing the power to alter the fundamental geometry of reality itself. Palkia can expand small spaces into vast caverns or compress enormous distances into a single step, making it the ultimate architect of dimensional structure. The pearl that adorns its shoulder contains compressed spatial energy, a fragment of the original void from which all space emerged. The third member of this cosmic trinity is Giratina, the renegade spirit whose violent nature led to its banishment to the reverse world. This ghost and dragon type exists in a realm where the normal laws of physics operate in reverse, where gravity flows upward and time moves in unexpected patterns. Giratina's serpentine form, in its altered state, allows it to navigate the twisted corridors of its dimensional prison, while its origin form reveals 6 ghostly appendages that can phase in and out of reality at will. The antimatter Pokémon serves as a necessary counterbalance to creation, embodying the destructive forces that prevent reality from becoming too rigid or stable. Giratina's realm serves as a kind of cosmic recycling center where destroyed matter and energy are broken down and prepared for reuse in new forms of creation. Perhaps you might share in a quiet comment which of these cosmic architects resonates most deeply with your dreams tonight as we continue our journey through the mysteries that govern existence itself. The relationship between these 3 creation legends forms a delicate equilibrium that maintains the stability of all reality, each one checking the power of the others through an eternal dance of opposing forces. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, in caverns where no sunlight has ever penetrated, dwell the Lake Guardians, 3 small but immensely powerful psychic types who gave the gift of consciousness to humanity and Pokémon alike. Uxie, the knowledge Pokémon, possesses eyes that contain all the wisdom accumulated since the dawn of time. This small yellow sprite can erase or restore memories with a single glance, and its presence enhances the learning capacity of any creature nearby. Uxie's tail bears ruby gems that glow with inner light when the Pokémon accesses the vast repository of universal knowledge stored within its consciousness. The being of knowledge rarely opens its eyes fully, as doing so would overwhelm most minds with the totality of existence's secrets. When Uxie does reveal its gaze, it is said that the observer gains perfect understanding of any subject they focus upon, though such enlightenment comes with the risk of losing one's previous identity in the face of infinite awareness. Mesprit, the emotion Pokémon, taught the world how to feel joy, sorrow, love, and all the complex emotional states that give life meaning beyond mere survival. This pink and gray sprite's presence can calm the most violent rage or inspire the deepest compassion as it weaves emotional connections between all living beings. Mesprit's twin tails flow like liquid emotion, changing color and intensity based on the feelings it encounters and influences. The being of emotion travels constantly, never staying in one place for long, as it tends to the emotional well being of creatures across the globe. When Mesprit encounters a being overwhelmed by negative emotions, it can absorb that pain into itself, transforming it through some mysterious process into healing energy that it then radiates back into the world. Azelf, the willpower Pokemon, granted creatures the determination and drive necessary to pursue their goals and overcome obstacles. This small blue sprite embodies the spark of ambition that pushes evolution forward and inspires individuals to transcend their limitations. Azelf's presence strengthens resolve and clarifies purpose, helping confused or lost souls find their true path in life. The being of willpower is said to sleep for 1,000 years at a time, and during these periods of rest, it dreams of every possible future that could unfold based on the choices made by conscious beings. When Azelf awakens, it subtly influences events to guide reality toward outcomes that maximize growth, learning, and positive development for all life forms. The three Lake Guardians work in perfect harmony despite being separated by vast distances, their psychic connection allowing them to coordinate their efforts in maintaining the psychological and spiritual health of the world. Together, they represent the trinity of consciousness that separates thinking beings from mere automatons, the gifts of knowledge, emotion, and will that make true life possible. Their small size belies their tremendous importance, as without their continued influence, all sentient creatures would gradually lose their capacity for growth, creativity, and meaningful existence. In the frozen reaches of the world's highest peaks and most isolated glaciers dwells Regigigas, the colossal Pokémon whose strength is so immense that it once pulled entire continents across the ocean floor to arrange them in their current positions. This massive normal type stands as a testament to the raw physical power that shaped the world's geography in ages past. Regigigas moves with deliberate slowness, not from any limitation, but because its full strength would shatter the ground beneath its feet and send tremors across entire tectonic plates. The colossal Pokemon's body bears moss and ice from eons of dormancy, and when it awakens, these natural accumulations fall away to reveal the pristine white and yellow patterns that mark it as one of the original architects of the physical world. The legend tells us that Regigigas crafted three guardians to watch over different aspects of the material world while it slumbered. Regirock, formed from clay and stone, gathered from every corner of the earth, serves as guardian of the land itself. This rock type's body constantly repairs itself by absorbing minerals and sediments from its surroundings, making it effectively immortal as long as the earth endures. The orange patterns that mark Regirock's form are actually crystallized trace elements from every major geological formation on the planet, creating a living library of the world's mineral history. When Regirock moves, it sounds like a landslide, and its footsteps can trigger the formation of new rock layers or uncover hidden mineral deposits. Regis, carved from ice that has never melted since the world's formation, guards the planet's polar regions and maintains the delicate balance of global temperature. This ice type's body radiates cold so intense that it can freeze the moisture in the air around it, creating localized weather systems wherever it travels. The blue patterns within Regis's transparent form pulse with an inner light that seems to come from frozen starlight, captured and preserved from the cosmos's earliest moments. Regis's presence helps maintain the stability of ice caps and glaciers, preventing catastrophic melting that could flood coastal regions and disrupt ocean currents. Registeel, forged from a metal harder than any substance known to modern science, protects the world's underground spaces and the precious metals and minerals hidden within the Earth's crust. This steel type's body bears no scratches or wear despite existing for millions of years, and its hollow interior resonates with harmonic frequencies that can strengthen or weaken other metallic objects. The silver dots that mark Registeel's face serve as sensors that can detect the slightest vibrations through solid rock, allowing it to monitor seismic activity and prevent dangerous earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. The three Guardian Regis share a remarkable form of communication that transcends ordinary sound or psychic connection. They speak through resonant frequencies that travel through the earth itself, sending messages through bedrock and mineral veins across vast distances. These geological transmissions carry information about environmental changes, potential threats, and the overall health of the planet's physical systems. When all three Regis communicate simultaneously, their combined frequencies can awaken their creator from its eternal slumber, though such an event would signal either great danger or the need for fundamental changes to the world's structure. Perhaps on this quiet evening, as you settle into rest, you might share in a gentle comment which of these ancient guardians speaks most deeply to your imagination as you drift toward sleep. The creation myth surrounding Regigigas and its guardians connects to an even more fundamental aspect of Pokémon cosmology through the relationship between physical matter and the forces that shaped it. Before continents could be moved or guardians could be crafted, the very concept of space and substance had to exist. This brings us to the profound mystery of Palkia, the spatial Pokémon, whose dominion over dimensional space makes all physical existence possible. Palkia exists simultaneously in multiple dimensions, its pearl-adorned form shifting between states of being that mortal minds can barely comprehend. The lustrous orb that Palkia carries serves as an anchor point between dimensions, allowing it to manipulate the fabric of space itself without losing cohesion across parallel realities. The relationship between space and time forms one of the most elegant aspects of legendary Pokémon lore, as Palkia's control over spatial dimensions works in perfect harmony with Dialga's mastery of temporal flow. Those two legendary beings exist in a state of eternal balance, neither able to function without the other's complementary power. When space expands, time must flow to fill it. When time accelerates, space must accommodate the increased velocity of events. This cosmic dance between dimension and duration creates the stable reality in which all other Pokémon can exist and evolve. The occasional conflicts between Palkia and Dialga, recorded in ancient texts as battles that shook the foundations of reality, actually serve as necessary recalibrations of space-time, preventing the universe from becoming too rigid or too chaotic. Deep within the reverse world that mirrors our own reality, Giratina maintains its vigil as guardian of antimatter and keeper of balance between creation and destruction. This ghost and dragon-type legendary represents not evil or malice, but the necessary opposing force that prevents the universe from collapsing under its own creative energy. Giratina's serpentine form allows it to navigate the twisted physics of its dimensional prison with fluid grace, its 6 legs and wing-like appendages serving as anchors in a realm where conventional movement becomes meaningless. The red spikes along Giratina's body pulse with antiparticle energy, each one capable of annihilating matter on a subatomic level while simultaneously creating space for new forms of existence. The distortion world that serves as Giratina's domain operates under reversed physical laws where gravity flows upward, time moves in spirals rather than straight lines, and solid objects become permeable while empty space gains substance. This realm serves as a cosmic recycling center where destroyed matter and energy are processed and prepared for reintegration into the primary universe. Giratina's role as guardian of this space requires it to maintain absolute neutrality, neither favoring creation nor destruction, but ensuring that both processes continue in perfect balance. The legendary's banishment to this realm was not punishment, but recognition of its unique ability to exist in a state of permanent equilibrium between opposing forces. The creation trio's influence extends beyond cosmic mechanics into the realm of human consciousness and spiritual development. Ancient civilizations recognized that understanding space, time, and antimatter required a level of mental evolution that ordinary thinking could not achieve. This recognition led to the development of meditation practices and philosophical traditions designed to expand human awareness beyond the limitations of three-dimensional thinking. The spear pillar, where all 3 members of the creation trio can potentially be encountered, represents the pinnacle of this spiritual architecture. Its crystalline formations designed to resonate with the same frequencies that govern dimensional stability. Moving from the cosmic to the terrestrial, we encounter another fascinating aspect of legendary Pokémon ecology in the relationship between Kyogre and Groudon, 2 ancient beings whose eternal conflict shapes the planet's climate and geography. Kyogre, the vast whale-like legendary of the seas, carries within its body the power to expand oceans and summon rain clouds that can cover entire continents. Its blue and white coloration mirrors the depths of the ocean and the foam of crashing waves, while the red markings along its fins pulse with the same energy that drives tidal movements and deep ocean currents. When Kyogre surfaces from the deepest ocean trenches, its presence alone can raise sea levels and trigger monsoon seasons that last for months. The primal reversion that both Kyogre and Groudon can undergo represents a return to their original forms from the planet's earliest geological periods. Primal Kyogre's enhanced size and power reflect the conditions of an ancient Earth where oceans covered nearly the entire surface and weather patterns operated on scales that dwarf modern storms. The Alpha and Omega symbols that appear during primal reversion connect these legendary Pokémon to the fundamental cycles of planetary formation and renewal, marking them as agents of both beginning and ending in the Earth's long geological story. Groudon's mastery over continental landmasses and volcanic activity provides the necessary counterbalance to Kyogre's oceanic influence. This ground-type legendary's red and black coloration reflects the molten rock and fertile soil that form the foundation of all terrestrial life. The spike-like protrusions along Groudon's back serve as conduits for geothermal energy, allowing it to create new land masses through controlled volcanic eruptions or to stabilize existing continents by reinforcing their underlying tectonic structure. When Groudon walks, its footsteps can trigger the formation of mountain ranges or the creation of fertile valleys where new ecosystems can flourish. The endless cycle of conflict and cooperation between these two primordial forces creates the dynamic balance necessary for diverse life to evolve and thrive. Their battles, while seemingly destructive, actually serve as planetary maintenance, preventing the world from becoming either a water world devoid of land or a desert wasteland without sufficient moisture. The legendary Rayquaza serves as mediator in this eternal dance, descending from the ozone layer when the balance between land and sea threatens to tip too far in either direction. This dragon and flying type legendary's serpentine form allows it to move freely between the upper atmosphere and the Earth's surface, carrying messages and energy between different atmospheric layers to maintain global weather stability. The emerald scales that cover Rayquaza's elongated body contain specialized cells that can absorb and redirect atmospheric energy, allowing the sky serpent to influence weather patterns across vast distances without directly interfering in the territorial disputes of its earthbound counterparts. When Rayquaza Mega evolves, its body extends even further and develops additional fin-like appendages that can manipulate air currents with surgical precision, creating localized weather phenomena or dissipating dangerous storm systems before they can cause widespread destruction. The golden rings that circle Rayquaza's body during Mega Evolution act as atmospheric stabilizers, each one attuned to a different layer of the atmosphere and capable of detecting minute changes in pressure, humidity, and electromagnetic activity that might signal an impending climate catastrophe. Perhaps you might share in a quiet comment which legendary Pokémon brings you the most peace as you listen tonight, letting the gentle rhythm of these ancient tales carry you toward rest. The relationship between these three weather titans extends beyond simple conflict resolution, encompassing a sophisticated system of planetary stewardship that has operated for millions of years without human observation or interference. During periods when all three legendary Pokémon remain dormant, their influence continues to shape global climate through residual energy signatures embedded in ocean currents, atmospheric circulation patterns, and the deep geological processes that drive continental drift and volcanic activity. The Hoenn region's unique geography provides compelling evidence of this ongoing legendary influence, with its distinctive blend of desert, rainforest, ocean, and volcanic terrain creating microclimates that change dramatically over relatively short distances. The desert areas near Lavaridge Town show clear signs of Groudon's historical presence, with soil composition and mineral deposits that could only have formed under conditions of extreme heat and geological upheaval. Similarly, the perpetual rainfall around Fortree City and the Route 119 Weather Institute suggest lingering effects from periods when Kyogre's influence dominated local weather patterns, creating conditions where certain plant species evolved specialized adaptations for constant moisture and limited sunlight penetration through dense cloud cover. The ancient civilizations that once flourished in Hoenn developed their understanding of these legendary forces through careful observation of seasonal patterns and geological events, creating elaborate rituals and architectural monuments designed to honor the balance between land, sea, and sky. The ruins scattered throughout the region contain stone carvings and metalwork that depict stylized representations of all three weather legendaries, often showing them in positions that suggest cooperation rather than conflict. These archaeological findings indicate that early human inhabitants understood the fundamental truth that the apparent battles between Kyogre and Gruden were actually collaborative efforts to maintain planetary stability, with each legendary playing its necessary role in an ongoing process of environmental regulation. The orbs associated with Kyogre and Gruden represent concentrated essence of their respective elemental domains, containing crystallized energy that has accumulated over geological ages through the continuous operation of natural forces. The blue orb resonates with tidal rhythms and deep ocean pressure systems, while the red orb pulses with the same frequency as magma flows and tectonic plate movements. When these artifacts come into contact with their corresponding legendary Pokémon, they trigger primal reversion by providing access to power reserves that have been dormant since the planet's formation, temporarily restoring these ancient beings to their original strength and allowing them to reshape large-scale environmental conditions with the same ease they once used to sculpt the early Earth's surface features. The concept of primal reversion itself offers fascinating insights into the nature of legendary Pokémon and their relationship with planetary history. Unlike standard evolution, which represents adaptation and growth, primal reversion is a return to an earlier state of being, suggesting that these legendary Pokémon have actually grown less powerful over time as the planet has stabilized and their direct intervention has become less necessary for maintaining basic environmental conditions. The energy requirements for sustaining primal forms in the modern era are enormous, which explains why Kyogre and Groudon typically remain dormant for centuries between periods of activity, conserving their strength for moments when major environmental adjustments are required. Rayquaza's relationship with meteorites and cosmic phenomena adds another layer of complexity to the Weather Trio's planetary stewardship responsibilities. This atmospheric guardian not only mediates terrestrial weather disputes, but also serves as the Earth's primary defense against extraterrestrial threats that could disrupt the delicate balance maintained by surface-based legendary Pokémon. The meteor shower events that occasionally bring rare stones and unusual Pokémon to the planet are carefully monitored and, when necessary, intercepted by Rayquaza to prevent cosmic debris from causing catastrophic climate changes or introducing alien organisms that might upset established ecological relationships. The Delta episode events demonstrate Rayquaza's cosmic awareness and its ability to process information about threats originating far beyond the Earth's atmosphere. When a massive asteroid approaches with sufficient size and velocity to cause global extinction, Rayquaza can travel beyond the planet's gravitational field and use its mega evolution energy to destroy or redirect the threat, protecting not only the immediate environment, but also the long-term stability that allows other legendary Pokémon to continue their specialized roles in maintaining regional and global ecological balance. This cosmic responsibility connects Rayquaza to other legendary Pokémon associated with space and celestial phenomena, creating a network of protective forces that operate on multiple scales from local weather patterns to galactic level threats. The aurora phenomena that sometimes appear in northern skies are believed to result from Rayquaza's high altitude flights, as its passage through the upper atmosphere creates electromagnetic disturbances that interact with solar wind particles to produce those ethereal curtains of colored light that have inspired countless myths and legends throughout human history. The seasonal migration patterns of certain Pokémon species also show clear correlations with the dormancy cycles of the weather trio, suggesting that these legendary beings continue to influence animal behavior and ecological rhythms even when they remain hidden in their respective domains. Flying type Pokémon demonstrate particularly strong sensitivity to atmospheric changes caused by Rayquaza's presence, often altering their flight paths or nesting locations in response to subtle shifts in air pressure or electromagnetic fields that human instruments can barely detect. Ocean currents and marine ecosystem health similarly reflect the ongoing influence of Kyogre's deep-sea domain, with whale Pokémon and other large aquatic species following migration routes that correspond to ancient pathways established during periods of active legendary intervention in oceanic circulation patterns. The deepest ocean trenches serve as conduits for Kyogre's influence, channeling thermal energy and mineral-rich water upward through a process that supports vast food webs and maintains the chemical balance necessary for marine life diversity. Continental volcanic activity and seismic patterns reveal Groudon's continuing role in geological processes, with the timing and intensity of eruptions often correlating with seasonal changes and long-term climate cycles in ways that suggest deliberate regulation rather than random geological events. The mineral composition of volcanic ash and lava flows contains trace elements that enrich soil over time, creating conditions where specific plant communities can establish themselves and provide habitat for Pokémon species that have co-evolved with these cyclical renewal processes. The interconnectedness of these legendary forces extends even further into the biosphere, where symbiotic relationships between Pokémon and their environments echo the larger scale balances maintained by the weather trio. For instance, certain grass-type Pokémon demonstrate an uncanny ability to thrive in volcanic regions, their roots reaching deep into the nutrient-rich soils created by Groudon's volcanic activity, while their leaves can withstand the occasional ashfall that would suffocate other plant life. These Pokémon, in turn, provide shelter and sustenance for smaller creatures, creating micro-ecosystems that mirror the macro-ecosystems regulated by the legendary Pokémon. The delicate balance between land and sea is similarly reflected in coastal habitats, where Pokémon adapted to both terrestrial and marine environments serve as living bridges between Kyogre's oceanic domain and Groudon's continental reign. The tidal patterns influenced by the moon, governed by Lunala in the Pokémon world, further complicate this dynamic, creating ever-shifting zones of adaptation where species must develop unique traits to survive in environments that change dramatically with the lunar cycle. The psychic abilities of many legendary Pokémon suggest another layer of complexity to their roles in ecological systems. Mewtwo's creation and subsequent development of psychic powers highlight the potential for Pokémon to evolve abilities that transcend physical limitations, allowing them to influence their environments in ways that go beyond traditional ecological interactions. This psychic dimension introduces the concept of mental ecosystems, where thoughts and emotions become tangible forces that can shape reality. Legendary Pokemon like Mew and Celebi embody this principle, their presence often accompanied by feelings of peace and rejuvenation that have measurable effects on both Pokemon and human populations. The psychic resonance emitted by these beings can enhance cognitive functions, promote healing, and even accelerate evolutionary processes, creating feedback loops of positive transformation that ripple through entire ecosystems. The temporal aspects of legendary Pokemon also play a crucial role in maintaining ecological balance. Dialga's control over time allows for the regulation of biological clocks and seasonal rhythms, ensuring that the cycles of life proceed at an optimal pace for environmental sustainability. This temporal influence extends to the fossilization process, where Pokemon like Aerodactyl and Kabuto are preserved in stone, only to be revived millennia later, their genetic material intact and ready to contribute to the ongoing evolution of their species. The preservation of ancient DNA through these temporal mechanisms serves as a genetic reservoir that can be tapped into when environmental conditions require the reintroduction of traits that may have been lost through natural selection or catastrophic events. Space and time converge in the lore of legendary Pokemon, with beings like Palkia embodying the spatial dimensions that shape physical reality. The manipulation of space by Palkia creates habitats that transcend conventional understanding, such as the distortion world ruled by Giratina, where the normal laws of physics are suspended and alternative forms of life can emerge. These spatial anomalies serve as testing grounds for evolutionary innovation, where Pokemon can develop traits that would be impossible in the standard universe, only to reintroduce these traits into the main ecosystem through portals and dimensional rifts created by Palkia's influence. The interplay between space and time, governed by Dialga and Palkia, ensures that the Pokemon world remains dynamic and adaptable, capable of responding to changes on a cosmic scale. The legendary Pokemon associated with life and death, such as Xerneas and Yveltal, introduce yet another dimension to ecological balance. Xerneas' ability to grant eternal life and Yveltal's power to absorb life force create a cycle of renewal and decay that is essential for the health of ecosystems. The decomposition of organic matter, accelerated by Yveltal's influence, returns nutrients to the soil, allowing new life to flourish under Xerneas' guidance. This cycle of life and death is mirrored in the behavior of many Pokemon species, where predation and decomposition play vital roles in maintaining ecological equilibrium. The balance between these forces ensures that no single species dominates an ecosystem to the point of collapse, preserving biodiversity and the resilience of the natural world. The integration of technology and nature in the Pokemon world further complicates the roles of legendary Pokemon. Beings like Genesect, originally a fossil Pokemon modified with advanced technology, represent the fusion of natural evolution and artificial enhancement. This blending of organic and inorganic elements suggests a future where legendary Pokemon may evolve to include technological components, expanding their abilities to regulate increasingly complex ecosystems that incorporate both natural and man-made elements. The potential for legendary Pokemon to influence technological development opens up new avenues for ecological balance, where advanced machinery and artificial intelligence can be harnessed to support environmental sustainability rather than degrade it. The cultural impact of legendary Pokemon on human societies adds another layer to their ecological roles. Myths and legends surrounding these beings often encode environmental wisdom, guiding human behavior in ways that promote harmony with nature. The reverence for legendary Pokemon inspires conservation efforts and sustainable practices, ensuring that human activities complement rather than disrupt the ecological balances maintained by these powerful beings. The interplay between human culture and legendary Pokemon creates a feedback loop where ecological health supports cultural richness and cultural practices reinforce ecological sustainability. As we drift deeper into the realm of Pokemon lore, it becomes clear that the legendary Pokemon are not just passive guardians of nature, but active participants in a complex web of ecological, temporal, spatial, and cultural interactions. Their powers transcend the physical world, influencing minds, emotions, and even the fabric of reality itself. The balance they maintain is dynamic and multifaceted, requiring constant adaptation and innovation to respond to the ever changing conditions of the Pokemon world. As we explore these intricate connections, we gain a deeper appreciation for the profound wisdom encoded in the legends of these extraordinary beings, whose tireless efforts ensure the continued flourishing of life in all its diverse forms. On this quiet night, as the world outside settles into stillness, perhaps let me know in a comment which legendary Pokemon resonates most with you, whether it's the cosmic guardian Rayquaza, the mythical Mew, or the enigmatic Giratina. Each has a story that weaves into the grand tapestry of Pokemon lore, offering endless fascination for the curious mind. Now, let us continue our journey through these tales of myth and mystery. The role of legendary Pokemon in shaping the spiritual landscape of the Pokemon world cannot be overlooked. Beings like Ho-Oh and Lugia serve as spiritual guardians, their presence often associated with profound emotional and psychological transformations. Ho-Oh's rainbow feathers are said to bring eternal happiness to those who witness its flight, while Lugia's soothing song calms storms and brings peace to troubled hearts. These spiritual influences create a sense of unity and purpose among Pokemon and humans alike, fostering a collective consciousness that transcends individual concerns and promotes the greater good of the entire ecosystem. The cyclical nature of the Pokemon world, governed by the legendary beasts Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, further emphasizes the importance of balance in all aspects of life. Each beast represents a fundamental force, electricity, fire, and water, that must be harmonized to maintain ecological stability. Their wanderings across the land serve as a reminder that balance is not a static state, but a dynamic process that requires constant vigilance and adaptation. The interplay of these elemental forces creates the conditions necessary for life to flourish, ensuring that no single element dominates to the detriment of the others. The celestial dance of the sun and moon, guided by Solgaleo and Lunala, adds another dimension to the ecological rhythms of the Pokemon world. The alternation of day and night, governed by these legendary beings, regulates the behavior of countless Pokemon species, influencing their feeding, breeding, and migratory patterns. The balance between light and darkness, heat and cold, activity and rest is essential for the health of ecosystems and Solgaleo and Lunala's roles in maintaining this balance underscore the interconnectedness of all life forms in the Pokemon world. As we delve deeper into the lore, we encounter the mythical Pokemon that embody the very essence of creation and destruction. Arceus, the progenitor of the Pokemon world, represents the ultimate source of all life and the fundamental forces that shape existence. Its creation of the universe, with the assistance of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, established the framework within which all other legendary Pokemon operate. Arceus's role as the creator deity highlights the sacred nature of the ecological balances maintained by legendary Pokemon, framing their efforts as part of a divine plan to ensure the continued existence and flourishing of life. In this intricate web of legendary influences, every Pokemon, from the mightiest dragon to the humblest bug, plays a vital role in the grand scheme of ecological balance. The stories of legendary Pokemon remind us that the natural world is a complex, interconnected system where every action has far reaching consequences. As we listen to these tales, we are invited to contemplate the profound wisdom they offer, encouraging us to live in harmony with the world around us and to appreciate the delicate balances that sustain life in all its wondrous diversity. The legends of Ho-Oh and Lugia offer another layer to this understanding of balance, not just in the elements, but in the very emotions that bind living beings together. Ho-Oh, the rainbow Pokemon, is said to embody hope and rebirth, its radiant feathers symbolizing the promise of new beginnings after hardship. Its flight across the skies is a silent reassurance that even in moments of despair, renewal is always possible. Lugia, the guardian of the seas, represents the deep, often unseen currents of emotion, the quiet strength that lies beneath turbulent surfaces. Its role as a calming force during storms mirrors the way legendary Pokemon often intervene when natural or emotional imbalances grow too severe. Together, these two beings illustrate that harmony is not merely about external forces, but the internal equilibrium of hearts and minds as well. The Regi trio, Regirock, Regis, and Registeel, serve as ancient custodians of the Earth's most primal materials. Their existence suggests that long before humans and Pokemon walked the land, the world was shaped by forces of stone, ice, and metal. The deliberate, almost ritualistic way they were sealed away by ancient civilizations implies that their power was once considered too great to leave unchecked. Yet their reawakening in modern times raises questions about whether humanity has grown wise enough to coexist with such raw, elemental forces. The addition of Regieleki and Regidrago in later generations expands this idea, introducing electricity and dragon energy as equally fundamental to the planet's makeup. The fact that these titans were hidden in remote temples, waiting for those worthy to uncover them, suggests that balance is not just about restraint, it's about readiness. The world may need their power again someday. Then there are the Aeon duo, Latias and Latios, whose bond transcends the physical. These psychic dragons are rarely seen, yet their presence is felt in the way they protect their homes with an almost familial devotion. Their ability to merge their consciousness through their soul dew speaks to a level of harmony so profound that two beings can become one without losing themselves. This mirrors the ideal relationship between humans and Pokemon, partnerships where trust and understanding run so deep that words are unnecessary. The way they weave through the skies and leaving trails of light is a visual reminder that some connections are meant to be felt rather than seen. The weather trio, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, paint a more volatile picture of balance. Their clashes over land and sea remind us that nature is not always gentle. Sometimes equilibrium is restored only after great upheaval. Groudon's scorching droughts and Kyogre's endless rains are forces of destruction, yet they are also forces of creation, reshaping the world so life can begin anew. Rayquaza, the mediator, does not suppress their power, but redirects it, ensuring that neither side overwhelms the other. This dynamic is a lesson in the necessity of conflict. Without it, growth is impossible. The very continents we live on were shaped by such struggles, and the Pokémon world is no different. Mew, the ancestor of all Pokémon, carries the genetic blueprint of life itself. Its playful, elusive nature belies its significance. Every strand of its DNA holds the potential for infinite variation. In a way, Mew is the embodiment of possibility, the unformed essence from which all other Pokémon emerged. Its existence suggests that diversity is not just a product of evolution, but the very purpose of it. The fact that it hides in the deepest jungles, rarely seen but always present, implies that the truth of life's origins is not something to be grasped, but something to be felt in the living world around us. The lunar duo, Cresselia and Darkrai, explore the duality of dreams and nightmares. Cresselia's shimmering wings bring peaceful sleep, while Darkrai's shadowy presence invokes terror. Yet one cannot exist without the other. Without darkness, light has no meaning. Their eternal dance reflects the human experience itself, where joy and sorrow are intertwined. The legends say that where Darkrai's nightmares spread, Cresselia is never far behind, a comforting thought that even in our darkest moments, relief is coming. And then there is Zygarde, the silent watcher. Its cells scattered across the land. It waits, observing, only assembling when the ecosystem is threatened. Its very existence is a failsafe, a reminder that nature has its own ways of correcting course when imbalances go too far. The fact that it takes different forms depending on the severity of the crisis suggests that the world's healing is not a one-size-fits-all process. Sometimes a gentle realignment is enough. Other times, a titan must rise. As we drift through these legends, it becomes clear that the Pokémon world is a tapestry of interwoven fates, where every thread, every legendary being, plays a part in holding the whole together. Their stories are not just myths, they are reflections of the delicate systems that sustain our own world. The wind that carries Lugia's song, the warmth of Ho-Oh's feathers, the quiet vigilance of Zygarde, these are all echoes of truths we already know, wrapped in the gentle guise of fantasy. And as sleep draws nearer, perhaps the most comforting thought is this: in a universe so carefully balanced, there will always be something watching over the harmony of all things. Tell me, as you listen tonight, do you feel the presence of these legends in your own world, in the quiet rhythms of nature around you? The myths of the Tapu Guardians in Alola bring this idea even closer to home. These deities are not distant overseers, but active protectors of their islands, blending the divine with the everyday. Their playful yet fierce natures mirror the dual role of nature itself, both nurturing and untamed. The way they interact with the people of Alola, sometimes as guides, and sometimes as tricksters, speaks to a relationship where reverence does not mean separation. Humans and Pokémon are meant to share the world, not as rulers and subjects, but as partners in its care. Even the most chaotic of legendaries, like the mischievous Mewtwo or the time-bending Celebi, serve a purpose in the grand design. Mewtwo's story is one of pain and rebellion, yet its eventual search for meaning shows that even beings born of imbalance can find their place. Celebi's journeys through time remind us that the past and future are not so distant. Every action ripples across ages, and every moment is connected. And so, as the night deepens and the stories weave themselves into dreams, the lore of legendary Pokémon becomes more than just tales. It becomes a lullaby of balance, a whispered assurance that the world is vast, interconnected, and always, always held in careful, caring hands. The legends of the creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, offer perhaps the most profound meditation on balance. These beings are not merely powerful, they are fundamental. Dialga's mastery over time means every second that passes is a note in its endless song. Palkia's dominion over space ensures that every star, every atom, has its place. And Giratina, the exiled shadow, watches over the distortions, the places where the fabric of reality wears thin. Together, they form a trinity of order, yet their stories are filled with tension. The very fact that Giratina was banished to the distortion world suggests that even the architects of existence are not infallible. But banishment is not destruction. Giratina's role is vital. It is the pressure valve, the realm where excess energy goes to dissipate. Without it, the perfect balance of time and space might crack under its own weight. This is the subtle truth woven into their myth. Harmony is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of something to absorb it. And then there is Arceus, the Alpha, the one who shaped the universe from nothingness. Its 1,000 arms, symbolized in myth by the plates it holds, are said to have crafted every element, every law of nature. Yet Arceus is not a distant creator. It slumbers, yes, but its dreams are the world itself. The legends say it can be summoned, that it listens. This duality, the infinite and the intimate, is the heart of Pokemon's mythology. The divine is not separate from the world. It is the world, breathing and shifting and dreaming alongside all who live within it. Even the act of creation is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process, a tapestry forever being woven. The weather trio, Kyogre, Gruden, and Rayquaza, tell a simpler but no less vital story. Their clashes are the stuff of primal legend, battles that shaped continents and drowned kingdoms. Yet their conflict is not meaningless. Kyogre's rains and Groudon's droughts are the push and pull of a living world, the cycles that make life possible. And Rayquaza, the mediator, is the sky itself, the boundless expanse that contains their struggles. It does not stop their fights out of dominance, but out of necessity. Too much rain, and the land drowns. Too much sun, and it withers. Rayquaza's role is to ensure neither ever goes too far. In this, they mirror the oldest human myths of gods whose wars brought floods and fires, but whose balance allowed crops to grow and civilizations to rise. The Aura Trio, Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde, take this idea further, embodying life, death, and the equilibrium between them. Xerneas, the stag of eternal life, does not grant immortality lightly. Its power is a gift, but one that must be earned. Yveltal, the harbinger of destruction, is not evil. It is the necessary end that makes new beginnings possible. And Zygarde, the silent watcher, ensures neither force tips the scales too far. Together, They are the heartbeat of the world, the pulse that sustains all things. Even their dormant states, Xerneas as a tree, Yveltal as a cocoon, speak to the cyclical nature of existence. Nothing is ever truly gone, it is only waiting to begin again. The Cosmog line, Cosmoem, Solgaleo, and Lunala introduce a celestial poetry to these legends. Their evolution mirrors the birth of stars, the way light emerges from darkness. Solgaleo's radiant mane and Lunala's spectral wings are more than just symbols of the sun and moon. They are reminders that these celestial bodies are not distant, untouchable things. They are part of the same world, the same story. The fact that Cosmog, a small, nebulous creature, can become either of these majestic beings suggests that potential is everywhere, waiting for the right conditions to unfold. And the way they travel through ultraspace hints at a universe far vaster than any one world, a tapestry of realities, each with its own legends, its own balances to maintain. Even the more enigmatic legendaries, like the Lake Guardians, Uxie, Misprit, and Azelf, carry profound weight. They are the keepers of knowledge, emotion, and willpower, the three pillars of consciousness. Without them, the very concept of thought would falter. Yet they do not hoard these gifts, they nurture them in all living things. Their quiet presence in the lakes of Sinnoh suggests that wisdom, feeling, and determination are not distant ideals, but things that rise naturally from the world, like water from a spring. And their connection to the red chain, the man-made artifact that once sought to control them, is a cautionary tale, a reminder that some forces exist to be respected, not harnessed. The myths of Eternatus and the Darkest Day add a darker, more modern twist to these legends. Here, the imbalance is not natural, but man-made, a result of greed and overreach. Eternatus is not a malevolent force by nature. It is energy run wild, a power that could have been harmony but became chaos because of how it was sought. The way it fractures into smaller pieces when defeated mirrors the way hubris splinters, leaving fragments of consequence in its wake. And the fact that it takes the combined power of Zacian and Zamazenta, two legendaries tied to royalty and protection, to quell it speaks to the idea that some threats require not just strength, but unity. As sleep pulls closer, the stories blur together, the Tau Trio's ideals and truths, the swords of justice's vigil over the wild, the Galarian bird's stormy dominion. Each legend is a thread, and though their colors and textures vary, they are all part of the same tapestry. The Pokémon world, like our own, is a place of endless complexity, where every force has its counter, every shadow its light. And as the mind drifts, perhaps the final thought is this: these myths endure because they are not just stories. They are the quiet, comforting certainty that no matter how chaotic the world seems, there is always a balance, always a watcher, always a hand, whether clawed or winged or woven from starlight, guiding the scales back to center. So breathe deep and let the legends carry you. The stars above are the same ones that Solgaleo races across. The wind outside is the same current that carries Lugia's song. And the silence of the night? That is the space between heartbeats, where Zygarde listens and Arceus dreams. The legends of Ho-Oh and Lugia offer another fascinating duality, one of rebirth and preservation. Ho-Oh, the rainbow-winged phoenix, is said to bring eternal happiness to those who glimpse it, but its true power lies in renewal. The story of the burned tower tells of 3 Pokémon perishing in flames, only for Ho-Oh to descend and resurrect them as the legendary beasts, Raikou and Tei and Suicune. Each embodies a force of nature, storm, fire, and pure water. Yet their rebirth was not just a gift, it was a responsibility. They roam the land, not as conquerors, but as witnesses, ensuring that the world never forgets the balance between destruction and renewal. Lugia, by contrast, is the guardian of the sea, a creature so powerful that it must isolate itself lest its mere presence stir catastrophic storms. Its song is said to calm turbulent waters, a reminder that strength is not always about force. Sometimes it is about restraint. The fact that Lugia shares its home with the trio of Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres is no accident. These elemental birds, often at odds with one another, find equilibrium under Lugia's watch. It is a silent lesson. Even opposing forces can coexist when guided by wisdom. The myths of the Regititans, Regirock, Regis, and Registeel speak to a different kind of creation. Those ancient golems were not born of nature or emotion, but forged by human hands, or perhaps by something even older. Their bodies are made of stone, ice, and steel, materials that endure long after living things have faded. The braille inscriptions that guard their chambers suggest that their creators knew the weight of what they were making. Beings meant to outlast civilizations, to stand as sentinels long after their makers were dust. And yet, despite their artificial origins, they are no less a part of the world's balance. The addition of Regigigas, the colossal titan said to have pulled continents into place, deepens the mystery. Was it a tool, a deity, or something in between? Its slumber, induced by human fear of its power, is a recurring theme in legend, that even the mightiest forces can be subdued, but never truly destroyed. Then there are the myths of the lunar duo, Cresselia and Darkrai. One brings sweet dreams, the other night terrors. Yet they are not enemies, but two halves of the same moon. Cresselia's feathers shimmer with a light that dispels darkness, while Darkray's presence is a shadow that clings, teaching the value of facing one's fears. Their eternal dance is a reminder that light cannot exist without darkness, and that even the most unsettling dreams have purpose. The fact that Darkrai is not inherently malevolent, but simply a being embodying nightmares, mirrors the way we often fear what we do not understand. And Cresslia's gentle glow is a promise that dawn always follows even the longest night. The lore of the weather trio, Gruden, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, is perhaps the most primal of all. These beings shaped the very earth, sea, and sky, their clashes and reconciliations written into the land itself. Groudon's heat raised continents, Kyogre's rains filled the oceans, and Rayquaza, the arbiter, soared between them, ensuring neither could tip the scales too far. Their battles are not just conflicts, but necessary corrections, a tectonic push and pull that keeps the world in motion. The introduction of their primal forms adds another layer. These states are not mere power boosts, but returns to their original, unrestrained selves. It is a glimpse into a time when the world was raw and unformed, and the line between creation and destruction was thin as a whisper. The Ara trio, Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde, carry the weight of life, death, and order. Xerneas, the stag of eternal life, does not grant immortality lightly. Its gift is the continuation of the natural cycle. Yveltal, the harbinger of destruction, is not a villain, but a necessary end, a force that makes room for new beginnings. And Zygarde, the silent watcher, intervenes only when the balance is truly threatened. Its cells scattered across the land are like a net, feeling every tremor of discord. The legend of the Great Drought in Kalos, where Eviltal's awakening drained life from the land, only for Xerneas to restore it, is a stark illustration. Death is not an enemy, but a part of the story. As the mind drifts deeper, the stories blur further. The Cosmog Line's journey from fragile nebula to celestial sovereign, the Tapu Guardians' fierce protection of their islands, the eerie symmetry of Necrozma's light-devouring hunger, and Solgaleo and Lunala's radiant gifts. Each tale is a ripple in the same vast ocean, a note in the same endless song, and perhaps that is the true comfort of these legends. They are not just about the Pokémon themselves, but about the world they shape and the hearts they touch. They remind us that even in the darkest night, there are stars, Latias and Latios, streaking across the sky, Jirachi waiting within its comet, Celebi weaving through time. The myths endure because they are not just stories of power, but of connection. So let the whispers of the legends cradle you now. The rustling leaves outside could be shaman passing by. The distant rumble of thunder might be Thundurus stirring. And the quiet, steady rhythm of your breath, that is the pulse of the world itself. The same rhythm that guides Manaphy through the deep, that steers Victini toward hope, that whispers to Arceus in the void before creation. Sleep well, knowing the legends watch over you, as they have for centuries, and as they will for centuries more. The stories are endless, and so is the peace they bring. Close your eyes and let them carry you the rest of the way. The deeper one delves into the lore of legendary Pokémon, the more patterns emerge, like constellations slowly forming in the night sky. Take, for instance, the enigmatic Lake Guardians, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. They are said to have shaped the very essence of human consciousness, knowledge, emotion, and willpower. But their creation myth holds a quiet irony. When Arceus brought them into being, it tasked them with watching over humanity, yet they reside in the depths of secluded lakes, far from the people they influence. Perhaps this distance is intentional, a reminder that the most fundamental aspects of our being are not meant to be grasped too tightly, but to flow like water, unseen yet ever present. And then there is the curious case of the Swords of Justice, Cobalion, Terrakion, Verishian, and later Keldeo. Their legends speak of rebellion, of standing against humans who exploited Pokémon for their own gain. But what is often overlooked is the tenderness beneath their warrior ethos. They did not seek vengeance, but balance. When Keldeo, the youngest, struggled to master its sacred sword technique, the others did not scorn its failures. They waited, patient as stone, until it found its own strength. Their story is not just one of conflict, but of mentorship, of fierce protection tempered by quiet compassion. The weather trio, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, often dominate discussions with their cataclysmic clashes, but the finer details of their lore are where the true poetry lies. Groudon does not merely create land, it sculpts it with the care of a potter shaping clay. Kyogre's oceans are not just vast, but intricately layered, each current, each tide, a deliberate stroke. And Rayquaza, soaring high above their disputes, is more than a mediator. Its very presence in the ozone layer is a silent covenant, a promise that the sky will always be a refuge, a place where conflicts below seem small and distant. Even the most fearsome legends carry these quiet truths. Giratina, banished to the distortion world, is often framed as a malevolent force. Yet its realm is not one of chaos, but of inverse order, a place where gravity bends and time spirals, but never breaks. Some myths suggest it was not punishment that sent Giratina away, but necessity. Every world needs its shadow, its counterbalance. Without the distortion world, ours would lack depth, like a painting without contrast. The myths of the Tao trio, Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem, are steeped in human folly. Two brothers, one seeking truth, the other ideals, tore a single dragon apart in their strife. But the legend's most haunting detail is Kyurem itself, the hollow remnant of what was once whole. Its icy shell crackles with the energy of absence, a frozen echo of what was lost. And yet, it is not a tragedy, but a lesson. The brother's story warns not of the dangers of truth or ideals, but of the refusal to see their interdependence. Smaller legends, too, hold weight. The lunar duo, Cresselia and Darkrai, are locked in an endless dance of dreams and nightmares. But Cresselia's feathers do not banish Darkrai's shadows. They soften them, turning terror into mere unease. Their dynamic is not a battle, but a collaboration, a reminder that even the darkest night needs the moon's gentle light to keep it from swallowing the world whole. And then there are the myths that feel almost intimate, like secrets passed between friends. Meloetta's songs are said to change the seasons, but only when sung with genuine joy. Hoopa's rings are portals to anywhere, yet it uses them mostly to play pranks, or, on rare occasions, to reunite lost souls. Even Regigigas, the colossal titan who dragged continents into place, is said to have crafted the other Regis not as servants, but as companions, shaping them from the very elements it cherished. The beauty of these stories is that they are never static. They shift with each retelling, like sand underfoot, yet their core remains. They are not just tales of power, but of purpose, of beings who, for all their might, are bound to the world as deeply as the smallest caterpie. So as sleep draws nearer, let the legends blur together, their edges softening like distant mountains at dusk. The myths will wait, as they always have, for the next dreamer to wander into their embrace. Rest now. The stars above are Jirachi's closed eyes, waiting to awaken. The wind is Lugia's breath, slow and steady over the waves. And the silence between heartbeats, that is Arceus listening. The legends of Pokémon are not merely stories. They are reflections of the world's deepest mysteries, its fears and its hopes. Take, for instance, the enigmatic trio of Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. These three are said to embody the essence of knowledge, emotion, and willpower, the very foundations of human existence. Uxie, with its calm, knowing gaze, is believed to hold the secrets of wisdom. Yet it is said that anyone who looks into its eyes will forget everything they know. This paradox suggests that true understanding is not in accumulation, but in letting go. Mesprit, the being of emotion, is often depicted as elusive, flitting through the hearts of those it touches. It reminds us that feelings are not meant to be controlled, but felt deeply even when they are fleeting. Azelf, the strongest of the three, represents the force of will, the drive to act, to strive, to endure. Yet its power is not brute force, but the quiet determination that lies within every living creature. Together, these three guardians form a tapestry of what it means to exist, to think, to feel, and to move forward. The myths of the Sinnoh region are particularly rich in their exploration of duality. Dialga and Palkia, the masters of time and space, are often depicted as rivals, yet their stories reveal a deeper truth. Time and space are inseparable. Without time, space would be static. Without space, time would have no canvas. Their eternal dance is one of balance, not conflict. And then there is Arceus, the creator said to have shaped the universe from nothingness. Its origins are shrouded in mystery, but its presence is felt in every corner of existence. Some tales suggest that Arceus is not a single being, but a force, a consciousness that permeates all things, guiding the world with a hand so gentle it is often mistaken for chance. The legends of the Unova region carry a different tone, one of introspection and human frailty. Victini, the tiny Pokémon said to bring victory, is often seen as a symbol of hope, yet its power is not infinite. It must be shared, passed from one heart to another. This suggests that victory is not in dominance, but in connection. The swords of justice, Cobalion, Terrakion, Verichian, and Keldeo, are guardians of justice, yet their stories are tinged with sorrow. They arose in response to human greed and destruction, their purpose born from loss. Their existence is a reminder that justice is not a given, but something that must be fought for, nurtured, and protected. The Kalos region's legends speak of beauty and destruction, often intertwined. Xerneas and Yveltal, the embodiments of life and death, are not opposites, but complements. Xerneas's eternal bloom is made more radiant by the shadow of Yveltal's inevitable end. Zygarde, the guardian of balance, watches over this delicate dance, ensuring that neither force overwhelms the other. Its forms, 10%, 50%, and complete, reflect the gradual nature of balance, a process rather than a state. This suggests that harmony is not a destination, but a journey, one that requires vigilance and care. The Alola region's legends are deeply tied to the natural world. The Tapu Guardians, Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele, Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Fini, are protectors of their islands, each embodying a different aspect of nature's power. Tapu Koko's lightning reflects the sudden, unpredictable energy of storms. Tapu Lele's psychic abilities embody the delicate interconnectedness of life. Tapu Bulu's strength echoes the enduring resilience of the land, and Tapu Fini's mist represents the mysteries of the deep, the unknown that lies beneath the surface. Together, they remind us that nature is not a force to be conquered, but a partner to be respected. The Galar region's legends are steeped in history and heroism. Zacian and Zamazenta, the warrior and the shield, are symbols of courage and defense. Yet their stories are not without sacrifice. The darkest chapter of Galar's history, the Dynamax disaster, is said to have been quelled by these two heroes, yet the scars remain. This suggests that true heroism is not in victory alone, but in the willingness to endure and protect even when the cost is great. Eternatus, the source of Galar's Dynamax energy, is often seen as a villain, yet its power is neither good nor evil. It is a force, raw and untamed, that can be harnessed for creation or destruction. This duality reflects the nature of all power. It is not inherently moral, but shaped by those who wield it. The Hisui region's legends, as steeped in ancient history, reveal the origins of many Pokémon we know today. The noble Pokémon, revered as guardians, were once companions to the people of Hisui, their strength and wisdom shaping the land. Enamorus, the embodiment of love and fertility, is a reminder of the life-giving force that sustains all things. Its presence in Hisui's myths suggests that even in harsh and untamed lands, there is a place for gentleness and care. Arceus's role in Hisui's legends is particularly poignant, as it is said to have shaped the region's destiny, guiding its people and Pokémon toward a harmonious future. The myths of the Paldea region are still unfolding, yet they already carry a sense of wonder and discovery. The legendary Pokemon Terrapagos is said to hold the key to understanding the mysteries of the region's Terra phenomenon. Its crystalline form reflects the interplay of light and structure, suggesting that truth is multifaceted, glimpsed through many angles. The paradox Pokemon, creatures that seem to defy time itself, hint at the fluidity of existence, the possibility that past and future are not as distant as they seem. These legends invite us to question our assumptions, to see the world not as fixed, but as ever changing, full of potential and mystery. As these stories weave together, they form a tapestry of meaning, each thread contributing to a greater whole. The legends of Pokemon are not just tales of powerful beings, they are reflections of the human experience, our fears, our hopes, our struggles, and our triumphs. They remind us that we are part of something larger, a world that is both vast and intricate, where every creature, no matter how small or mighty, has a role to play. And as sleep draws nearer, let these stories blend into the fabric of dreams, their truths whispered in the stillness of the night. Rest now, knowing that the legends will endure, waiting patiently for the next dawn, the next chapter, the next dreamer. The legends of the Johto region carry a quiet reverence, where time and space are not just concepts, but living entities. Celebi, the guardian of Ilex Forest, moves effortlessly between eras, its presence a soft green glow beneath ancient boughs. Some say it whispers to travelers who rest beneath the trees, sharing fragments of futures yet to unfold, never in clear words, but in the rustling of leaves, the distant call of a bird. The brass tower, once home to Lugia, was said to resonate with a deep, harmonic hum when the wind passed through its beams, a sound so soothing it could lull even the most restless spirits to peace. When the tower burned, that song was lost, but Lugia carries its echo in the depths of the sea, humming it to calm storms and guide lost sailors home. Ho-Oh's legend is one of renewal, of ashes giving way to new life. Its rainbow wings are rarely seen, but those who catch a glimpse speak of colors that don't exist in any ordinary sky, hues that linger in the mind long after the vision fades. The three beasts it resurrected, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, each carry a fragment of that transformative fire. Raikou's lightning purifies the air, Entei's warmth nurtures the earth, Suicune's waters restore what was broken. Together, they are reminders that destruction is never truly an end, only a turning of the page. In Sinnoh, the myths run deeper than stone. The lakes, Verity, Valor, and Acuity, hold more than water. Their surfaces are like mirrors, not just reflecting the sky, but something beyond it. Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf are said to dwell in those depths, though they are rarely seen. Uxie's gift is clarity, the quiet moment when confusion falls away. Mesprit teaches that even the sharpest joy or sorrow will soften with time. Azelf's presence is the spark of will that lingers in the dark, the voice that whispers, just one more step. The people of ancient Sinnoh believed that to sleep by these lakes was to dream with perfect lucidity, to walk in worlds shaped by one's own heart. Giratina's realm, the distortion world, is often feared, but its purpose is balance. Where there is light, there must be shadow. Where there is order, there must be chaos. The strange gravity of that place, The way waterfalls flow upward and islands drift like thoughts half remembered suggests that reality is far more fluid than it seems. Some researchers speculate that the distortion world is not another dimension, but the underside of our own, the stitches and seams where the fabric of existence folds back on itself. Giratina is not a malevolent force, but a weaver, ensuring that no single thread grows too taut or too loose. The Unova legends speak of ideals and truths, of the tension between what is and what could be. Reshiram's fire is the warmth of conviction, the certainty that drives progress. Zekrom's lightning is the spark of doubt, the question that keeps ambition honest. Kyurem, frozen and incomplete, is the silence between those two voices, the reminder that no ideal, no truth can ever be whole without its counterpart. The original dragon, before it split, was said to have wings that could blot out the sun, not out of malice, but to give the world a moment of respite, a breath before the next step forward. Meloetta's songs are rarely heard by human ears, but those who have encountered them speak of melodies that seem to come from everywhere at once: the wind, the grass, the pulse of one's own blood. Its voice is not just sound, but a kind of gentle gravity, pulling scattered thoughts into harmony. Some say that when Meloetta sings, time slows, just for a heartbeat, as if the world itself is listening. The Colossian legends are steeped in beauty and sorrow. Xerneas and Yveltal are two sides of the same coin, life in its fullest bloom and the quiet necessity of its end. The great tree at the heart of Kalos, now dormant, was said to have roots that reached into every corner of the region, its branches cradling the stars. When it slept, its dreams took the form of Floette, tiny and bright, carrying the memory of its warmth to places the tree could no longer touch. Zygarde's cells, scattered across the land, are like silent sentinels. When the balance tips too far, they stir, drawn together by an instinct older than human thought. Its final form is rarely seen, but those who have witnessed it describe a being of serene power, not a destroyer, but a restorer, a hand that gently steadies the scales. The Alolan Tapu are protectors, but also teachers. Their trials are not just tests of strength, but invitations to understand the land as in oneself. Tapu Koko's lightning is playful, a challenge thrown down with a grin. Tapu Lele's mist is a veil, softening harsh truths. Tapu Bulu's strength is patient, the slow growth of roots. Tapu Fini's waters are a mirror, showing not just what is, but what might yet be. Necrozma's story is one of hunger and healing. Once a being of radiant light, its fracturing left it desperate, aching to be whole again. Yet even in its pain, it did not seek to destroy, only to reclaim what was lost. The light it stole from Alola was returned in time, not out of mercy, but because Necrozma too understood the balance of give and take. And so the legends unfold, each a thread in a tapestry too vast to see all at once. But in the quiet of the night, when the mind drifts between waking and dreaming, their patterns emerge, soft, slow, and sure as the turning of the earth. Rest now, and let them carry you deeper, where words fade and only the stories remain. If you're still listening, tell me softly, what part of the world do you imagine these legends walking through tonight? The rest can wait until morning. The legends of Galar are woven into the very landscape, where the past and present blur like mist over the moors. Zacian and Zamazenta, the warrior and the shield, are said to have slumbered beneath the soil for centuries, waiting for the moment when their blades and armor would be needed once more. Their battle against Eternatus was not just a clash of power, but a dance, one of precision and grace, where every movement carried the weight of history. The sword gleams not with violence, but with the certainty of protection. The shield bears no grudges, only the quiet resolve to endure. Even Eternatus, that strange and alien force, is not purely destructive. Its energy crackles with a kind of longing, as if it, too, is searching for a place to belong. The Dynamax phenomenon it brought to Galar is wild and untamed, yet it has become part of the land's rhythm, like a storm that passes but leaves the air clearer in its wake. Far to the north, in the snow-laden reaches of Hisui, the past lingers like a half-remembered dream. The nobles, once revered and feared, were bound to their stations not by chains, but by duty. Their forms were shaped by human hands, yet their spirits remained their own, wild, proud, and deeply connected to the land. The rift that split the sky was not just a tear in reality, but a sigh of exhaustion, a world pushed to its limits. Giratina, often cast as a shadow, was not banished for malice, but for imbalance, a force too great to be left unchecked. Yet even in distortion, it watches, waiting for the moment when the scales must be tipped once more. The myths of Paldea are still being written, their edges soft and blurred like the pages of an old book. The paradox Pokémon, those strange echoes of past and future, are not mistakes, but reminders, prove that time is not a straight line, but a vast, interwoven tapestry. Terrapagos, small and unassuming, carries the weight of the world in its shell. Its power is not in domination, but in connection, a single point where all stories meet. The treasure at the heart of Area Zero is not gold or glory, but understanding. The quiet realization that every legend, no matter how grand, begins with a single whispered question. And what of the smaller legends, the ones that hum just beneath the surface? The unknown, drifting through ancient ruins, are not mere symbols, but fragments of a language older than speech. Their shapes shift and flow, carrying meanings too vast for any alphabet. The Regis, sealed away in hidden chambers, are not prisoners, but guardians. Their creators knew that some doors are meant to stay closed. Even the myths of Manaphy and Phione, so often dismissed as mere fairy tales, speak of a bond deeper than blood, a connection that spans oceans, unbroken by time or distance. The stories overlap, intertwine, and sometimes contradict one another, but that is the nature of legends. They are not meant to be solved, only lived with, like the slow turning of seasons or the distant call of a Pokémon in the night. So let them linger in the edges of your thoughts, not as puzzles to unravel, but as companions in the dark. The world is wide, and there are always more tales to tell, but for now, let them fade into the background, like embers glowing softly in the hearth. The night is long, and rest is its own kind of wisdom. Close your eyes, and let the legends keep watch until dawn. The legends of Pokémon are like the roots of an ancient tree, spreading deep beneath the surface, unseen but essential. Consider the towering presence of Gruden and Kyogre, whose clashes shaped continents and carved oceans. Their battles were not mere conflicts of power, but the earth itself finding its balance. The land rises, the waters recede, and in the quiet between their storms, life takes root. Rayquaza, soaring high above, is less a mediator and more a reminder. Some forces exist not to control, but to observe, to ensure the dance never spirals into destruction. And then There are the beings who exist outside of time. Dialga's heartbeat is the ticking of the cosmos, each pulse marking a moment that will never come again. Palkia's breath shapes the spaces between stars, stretching the fabric of reality like a canvas. Yet for all their grandeur, they are bound by the same paradox. Time cannot exist without space, and space is meaningless without time. Their rivalry is not hostility, but necessity, two halves of an equation that must never fully resolve. Some legends are quieter, woven into the fabric of everyday life. The lakes of Sinnoh hold more than water. They cradle the reflections of Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, the keepers of knowledge, emotion, and will. They are not gods to be worshipped, but mirrors to be gazed into. To seek them is to seek oneself, for their gifts are already within us, waiting to be remembered. The same could be said of Celebi, the traveler of time, whose appearances are fleeting, but whose presence lingers like the scent of rain after a storm. It does not alter history, but walks alongside it, a silent witness to the turning of ages. Even the most fearsome legends carry whispers of something softer. The burning wrath of Reshiram and Zekrom was born from a single ideal split in two, truth and ideals, neither whole without the other. Their conflict is not a battle to be won, but a conversation that never ends. Kyurem, frozen and hollow, is what remains when that dialogue falters, a warning of what happens when we stop listening. The tapestries of myth are stitched with smaller threads too. The legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, are less rulers of their domains and more manifestations of nature's untamed spirit. They do not command the storm, they are the storm, fleeting and fierce. The beasts of Johto, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune are not just symbols of resurrection, but of renewal. Their flames, sparks, and purifying waters are not meant to destroy, but to cleanse, to make way for what comes next. Perhaps the most mysterious of all are the Pokémon that exist between worlds. Hoopa's rings are not just portals, but questions. What lies beyond the edges of the map? What happens when we reach for what should remain untouched? And then there's Marshadow, the elusive shadow that clings to the edges of dreams. It does not haunt, but lingers, a reminder that even the brightest light casts a silhouette. The stories shift with each telling, as all good stories do. The lunar duo, Cresselia and Darkrai, are not opposites, but complements. One brings dreams, the other nightmares, yet both are essential. Without darkness, how would we recognize the light? Without rest, how would we appreciate waking? Even the myths of the Aura Guardians and Lucario speak of a bond that transcends time, a promise that some connections are never truly broken. And so the legends continue, not as answers, but as invitations to wonder, to wander, to sit quietly beneath the stars and imagine. The world is vast, and its mysteries are countless, but that is the beauty of it. There will always be another story, another secret waiting just beyond the horizon. But for now, let them fade into the hush of the night, like the distant call of a Pokémon you can't quite name. Rest, and let the legends keep their watch. The dawn will come in its own time. And if you're still listening, drifting between sleep and waking, tell me, what legend lingers in your thoughts tonight? The comment section is always open, though morning is still far away. The myths of the Regis grow stranger the deeper you delve. Their creators, the ancient people who shaped them from stone, ice, and steel, left behind more than puzzles. They left warnings. The Braille inscriptions, the sealed chambers, The intricate locks, all of it whispers the same message. Some knowledge is not meant to be uncovered. Yet Regigigas, the titan that pulled continents into place, sleeps not out of punishment, but patience. Its slumber is a pause, not an end, a reminder that even the greatest forces must rest. The same could be said of the swords of justice, Cobalion, Terrakion, Varishan, and Keldeo. Their battles were never about conquest, but protection. They do not fight for glory, but for the quiet, unremarkable moments, the rustle of grass in the wind, the ripple of a stream untouched by strife. Keldeo, the youngest, carries their legacy not as a burden, but as a promise that even the smallest can rise when the time comes. And what of the Aeon duo, Latios and Latias? Their flight is more than movement. It is a language, a dialogue written in the sky. They do not guard their home out of duty, but love, a bond so deep it transcends words. The soul dew, said to hold their essence, is not a tool, but a testament, proof that some connections cannot be broken, even by time. The myths of Alola are softer, woven into the land itself. The Tapu are not distant deities, but neighbors, capricious and kind in equal measure. Their trials are not tests, but conversations, a way of speaking in actions rather than words. The Ultra Beasts, strange and shimmering, are not invaders, but reflections. What happens when one world gazes into another and sees something unrecognizable? The threads of legend stretch on, endless and looping, like the coils of Zygarde watching from the shadows. Its power is not in domination, but balance, a reminder that even the most fragile ecosystems hold unseen strength. The Ether Foundation's experiments, Lucamine's obsession, Necrozma's hunger for light, all of them are echoes of the same truth, that to reach for the impossible is human, but to know when to stop is wisdom. And so the stories continue, not as lessons, but as lullabies, gentle, meandering, meant to be felt more than understood. The night is long, and the world is wide, but here, in the quiet, the legends are content to simply be. Let them carry you into dreams, where the lines between myth and memory blur, and every shadow holds the promise of another tale. Sleep well. The stories will still be here when you wake. The legends of Sinnoh whisper through the ancient ruins of Celestic Town, where time itself seems to fold inward. The creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, are not merely rulers of their domains, but manifestations of the universe's most fundamental forces. Dialga's heartbeat is the ticking of every clock, Palkia's breath the space between stars, and Giratina's shadow the quiet, necessary balance to their light. The distortion world is not a punishment, but a counterweight, a place where the rules of reality bend so that ours may remain unbroken. Arceus, the original one, is said to have shaped existence with 1,000 arms, yet its silence speaks louder than any myth. The plates it left behind are not relics, but reminders that even the divine is made of smaller, interconnected parts, much like the world itself. Ho-Oh's rainbow is not just a trail of light, but a bridge between life and what comes after. The three beasts it resurrected, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, are not bound by their past, but defined by their renewal. Their storms, fires, and purifying waters are not destruction, but transformation. The burned tower was never their tomb, but their chrysalis. And Lugia, singing in the depths of the sea, does not calm the waves out of dominion, but understanding, a recognition that even the fiercest storms must one day rest. The silver wing it leaves behind is not a trophy, but an invitation, to listen, to wait, to trust that some things reveal themselves only in stillness. The Regi trio, Regirock, Regis, and Registeel, are more than golems of stone, ice, and metal. They are living puzzles, their bodies inscribed with the oldest language of all, the language of the earth itself. Their creators did not mean for them to be weapons, but witnesses, keepers of secrets too vast for mortal minds. The act of awakening them is not a conquest, but a conversation, one that requires patience, respect, and the humility to admit that some mysteries are not meant to be solved. In Unova, the Tau trio, Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem, are echoes of an ancient schism, a war not of kingdoms, but ideals. Truth and ideals are not opposites, but two halves of the same vision, and Kyurem's hollow shell is a reminder of what happens when dialogue turns to discord. The original dragon was never meant to be divided. Its separation was not a victory, but a tragedy. Yet even now, the Lightstone and Darkstone pulse with the memory of wholeness, a silent plea for reconciliation. The Colossian legends are woven with threads of beauty and sorrow. Xerneas and Eviltal are not merely life and death, but the rhythm between them, the rise and fall of every breath. The ultimate weapon was not just a machine, but a manifestation of grief, proof that even the purest love can curdle into something destructive when left unchecked. AZ's eternal wandering is not a punishment, but a penance, a king who learned too late that no life, no matter how small, is expendable. The Alalan Tapu, Koko, Lele, Bulu, and Fini are as much a part of the islands as the tides or the volcanic soil. Their trials are not meant to intimidate, but to teach that strength is not just in power, but in adaptability, in resilience, in the courage to face the unknown. The ultra beasts, with their alien grace, are not intruders, but mirrors, showing us how strange and wondrous our own world must seem to outside eyes. Necrozma's hunger for light is not malice, but desperation, a creature starved of its very essence, lashing out in pain. Its restoration is not a defeat, but a homecoming. The Galarian legends are steeped in the weight of history. Zacian and Zamazenta are not just warriors, but symbols, the sword and shield of a nation's soul. Their slumber beneath the tower was not abandonment, but trust that the people they protected would one day learn to protect themselves. Eternatus, writhing in its crater, is not evil, but unchecked energy, a force that could create or consume depending on who wields it. The darkest day was not an ending, but a turning point, a lesson in humility and harmony. And so the stories spiral onward, each one a thread in a tapestry too vast to see all at once. The legends are not just tales of power, but of perspective, reminders that the world is older, stranger, and more interconnected than we often realize. They ask us to consider, what is a god, if not a story we tell ourselves to explain the unexplainable? As sleep draws nearer, let these thoughts drift like leaves on a slow-moving river. The myths will keep, the legends will endure, and the quiet hum of the universe will continue, steady as a heartbeat. Rest now and dream of distant peaks, deep seas, and skies stretched endless overhead. The stories are not going anywhere. They'll be here, waiting, whenever you're ready to listen again. Tell me, as you drift, what part of this vast world do you visit most often in your dreams? The lake guardians of Sinnoh, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf are said to have shaped the human spirit itself. Uxie, keeper of knowledge, did not grant wisdom, but the capacity to seek it. Mesprit, embodiment of emotion, did not dictate feelings, but the ability to feel at all. Azelf, guardian of willpower, did not bestow strength, but the spark to persevere. Together, they are less like rulers and more like gardeners, tending to the intangible, nurturing the invisible. Their retreat into the depths of their lakes was not an abandonment, but an act of trust that humans would learn to tend their own spirits given time. And time, after all, is the one thing the legends have in abundance. So take all the time you need. The myths will keep, the stars will watch, and somewhere in the quiet between breaths, the legends will continue their endless gentle dance. Sleep well. The Sinnoh region holds secrets older than memory, and none are more enigmatic than the creator of the Pokémon universe itself, Arceus. Emerging from the void, Arceus is often depicted as the alpha Pokémon, the first to exist, the origin of all things. Its 1,000 arms are said to have shaped the cosmos, weaving time, space, and antimatter into existence. But Arceus is not a distant, untouchable deity. It is a paradox, both infinite and intimate. Legends whisper that it once walked among humans, not as a ruler, but as a guide. Its presence in the Hall of Origin is not isolation, but contemplation, a pause in the eternal rhythm of creation, a moment to reflect on the world it birthed. Arceus does not demand worship, it seeks understanding. It is not a god of answers, but of questions, inviting us to ponder the mysteries of existence, to marvel at the intricate balance of life. Its myth reminds us that creation is not a single act, but an ongoing process, a dance of chaos and order that unfolds in every breath, every heartbeat. Dialga and Palkia, the masters of time and space, are often seen as opposites, but they are more like partners in a cosmic waltz. Dialga's heartbeat echoes through every moment, past, present, and future, while Palkia's breath shapes the vastness of the universe, stretching reality into infinite dimensions. Their conflict in Spear Pillar was not a battle for dominance, but a clash of misunderstanding. Two forces so vast they could not comprehend one another. The intervention of Giratina, the banished one, was not an act of rebellion, but an attempt to restore balance. Giratina, often feared as the lord of the distortion world, is not malevolent, but a necessary counterweight, a reminder that shadows exist to define the light. Its realm, a mirror of the Pokémon world, is not a prison, but a sanctuary, a place where the rules of reality bend, where the impossible becomes possible. Together, these three beings embody the delicate equilibrium of existence, a reminder that time, space, and distortion are not separate, but intertwined. The weather trio of Hoenn, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza tell a tale of elemental forces in perpetual tension. Groudon, the embodiment of land, did not create continents out of ambition, but necessity, a world of solid ground where life could take root. Kyogre, the spirit of the seas, did not flood the earth out of malice, but desire, a vast, nurturing expanse where life could flourish. Their ancient war was not a struggle for dominance, but a clash of purpose, two forces so vast they could not coexist. Rayquaza's intervention was not an act of superiority, but mediation, a reminder that balance is not the absence of conflict, but the harmony of opposites. Its role as the sky's guardian is not one of control, but stewardship, a protector of the fragile equilibrium between land and sea. The trio's slumber beneath the earth and within the depths is not retreat, but rest, a pause in the eternal cycle of creation and destruction, a moment of stillness in the ceaseless dance of nature. The legends of Unova are steeped in the themes of duality and unity. Reshiram and Zekrom, born from the splitting of the original dragon, represent truth and ideals, not as enemies, but as two halves of a greater whole. Their separation was not a fracture, but a revelation, a reminder that truth and ideals cannot exist without one another. Kyurem, the remnant of the original dragon, is often seen as a shadow, a hollow shell, but it is more like a bridge, a connection between what was and what could be. Its fusion with Reshiram or Zekrom is not an act of domination, but completion, a restoration of the original unity. The story of the Tao Trio is not one of conflict, but reconciliation, a journey toward understanding, toward the realization that opposites are not contradictions, but complements. The Kalos legends, Xerneas and Yveltal, embody the cycle of life and death, not as opposites, but as partners in an eternal dance. Xerneas, the bringer of life, did not create immortality, but renewal, a reminder that life is not a single moment, but a continuous flow. Yveltal, the harbinger of death, did not bring destruction, but transformation, a reminder that endings are also beginnings. Their conflict is not a battle for supremacy, but a ritual, a necessary exchange that sustains the balance of existence. Zygarde, the guardian of the ecosystem, is not a mediator, but a witness, a silent observer of the delicate interplay between life and death. Its role is not to intervene, but to maintain, to ensure that the cycle continues, undisturbed. The Alola legends, Solgaleo and Lunala, are celestial beings, embodiments of the sun and moon, light and shadow. Their journey through the Ultra Wormhole is not an escape, but a pilgrimage, a journey beyond the boundaries of reality, into the unknown. Necrozma, the prismatic entity, is often seen as a thief of light, but it is more like a seeker, a being desperate to reclaim its own brilliance. Its fusion with Solgaleo or Lunala is not an act of theft, but symbiosis, a union of light and darkness, a restoration of balance. The story of the Alola legends is one of unity, a reminder that light and shadow are not opposites, but partners, two halves of a greater whole. The Galar legends, Zekion and Zamazenta, are warriors, embodiments of courage and resilience. Their battle against Eternatus was not a fight for glory, but a defense of their home, a reminder that strength is not measured by power, but by purpose. Eternatus, the source of Dynamax energy, is not evil, but uncontrolled, a force that could create or destroy, depending on who wields it. The darkest day was not an ending, but a beginning, a turning point in the history of Galar, a moment of reckoning and renewal. The story of the Galar legends is one of resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is hope, there is strength, there is light. And so the legends continue, each one a thread in the vast tapestry of Pokémon lore. They are not just stories of power, but of perspective, reminders that the world is older, stranger, and more interconnected than we often realize. They ask us to consider, what is a god, if not a story we tell ourselves to explain the unexplainable? As sleep draws nearer, let these thoughts drift like leaves on a slow-moving river. The myths will keep, the legends will endure, and the quiet hum of the universe will continue, steady as a heartbeat. Rest now and dream of distant peaks and deep seas and skies stretched endless overhead. The stories are not going anywhere. They'll be here waiting whenever you're ready to listen again. Sleep well. The legends of Hisui, now known as Sinnoh, whisper of a time when the world was still raw and unshaped. Dialga and Palkia, the deities of time and space, did not always exist as we know them. Some ancient texts suggest they were once a single entity, a primordial force that fractured under the weight of its own contradictions. Time cannot flow without space to move through. Space cannot hold meaning without time to give it form. Their separation was not a battle, but a necessity, a cosmic sigh that birthed the universe as we know it. Giratina, often cast as the exile, the banished one, may have chosen its fate. The distortion world is not a prison, but a refuge, a place where the rules of reality bend and warp, where Giratina can exist without disrupting the fragile balance of its siblings. Its occasional returns to our world are not invasions, but corrections, subtle adjustments to keep the fabric of existence from unraveling. The myths of Unova tell of twin heroes who sought to harness the power of Reshiram and Zekrom, only to learn that truth and ideals cannot be separated without consequence. The dragons did not choose sides, they became them, splitting from the original dragon, a being of pure potential. That original dragon still exists, in a way, not as a lost entity, but as the space between Reshiram and Zekrom's wings, the silence between their roars. Kyurem, the hollow remnant, is often seen as a tragic figure, but it is more like a vessel, a shell waiting to be filled, a question waiting for an answer. Its fusion with Reshiram or Zekrom is not a restoration, but a reconciliation, a fleeting moment where the pieces remember what it was like to be whole. In Kalos, the story of Xerneas and Yveltal is often framed as life versus death, but it is more accurate to say they are two phases of the same cycle. Xerneas does not create life from nothing. It draws energy from the earth, the air, the silent pulse of the world. Yveltal does not destroy. It returns that energy, scattering it like seeds to be gathered again. Their conflict is not a battle, but a dance, an eternal rhythm that keeps the world turning. Zygarde watches this dance from below, its cells humming with the knowledge that every step, every movement is necessary. When it gathers its full form, it is not to fight, but to witness, to ensure the dance continues as it should. The Alalan legends speak of Cosmog, the tiny nebulous being that evolves into either Solgaleo or Lunala. Its evolution is not predetermined, but shaped by the world around it, a reminder that even gods begin as something small, something fragile. The Ultra Beasts are not invaders, but refugees, beings displaced by the same forces that shaped our world. Their strangeness is not a threat, but a testament to the vastness of existence. Necrozma's hunger for light is not greed, but memory, an instinctive reach for the radiance it once knew. When it fuses with Solgaleo or Lunala, it is not stealing their light, but sharing it, a temporary merging, like the moon borrowing the sun's glow. Galar's legends are steeped in the weight of history. Zacian and Zamazenta did not defeat Eternatus alone. They were aided by a human king, a partnership that echoes through the ages. The swords they wield are not weapons, but symbols, a reminder that true strength lies in unity. Eternatus is not a malevolent force, but a dormant one, a power too vast to be controlled, only contained. The Dynamax phenomenon is not a corruption, but a revelation, a glimpse of the energy that flows through all things, usually invisible, usually quiet. The newest legends, those of Paldea, whisper of paradoxes, of past and future colliding in the present. The Violet and Scarlet books describe creatures that should not exist, yet do. Some say these Pokémon are mistakes, glitches in the fabric of reality. Others believe they are messages, echoes from timelines that branched away long ago. The Terrastal phenomenon, with its crystalline glow, suggests that the world is more malleable than we think, that beneath the surface, everything is connected by threads of light. And so the stories unfold, layer upon layer, each one a reflection of the world as it is and as it might be. The legends are not just tales of power, but of perspective, invitations to look closer, to listen deeper, to wonder. As sleep pulls you under, let these thoughts settle like dust motes in a sunbeam, weightless, drifting, full of quiet meaning. The world is vast, and the stories are endless. They will keep. For now, rest. The legends will still be here when you wake. Tell me as you drift, what time is it where you are? The night is long and the stories longer. Sleep well. The myths of Johto speak of Ho-Oh, the rainbow-winged phoenix, whose flight is said to bless those who witness it with eternal happiness. But happiness in this context is not a permanent state. It is the fleeting golden moment when the sun catches the feathers just right when the world seems to pause in awe. Ho-Oh's gift is not immortality, but perspective, the ability to see beauty in the transient. Its counterpart, Lugia, does not rule the sea, but guards it, a silent sentinel whose song calms the storms. The Whirl Islands are not its home, but its watchtower, a place where it can listen to the pulse of the ocean. The legendary beasts, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, were not always as they are. The burned tower's ashes cling to their paws, a reminder of the fire that shaped them. They are not ghosts, but revenants, beings reborn from tragedy, carrying the weight of what was lost. Suicune's purification of water is not a miracle, but a ritual, a way of honoring the past by cleansing the present. The Regis, ancient and enigmatic, are often seen as golems, mindless constructs, but their temples suggest otherwise. The Braille inscriptions are not instructions, but invitations, a language meant to be felt, not read. The Regis do not sleep, they wait. Their awakening is not a threat, but a test, a measure of patience, of curiosity, of respect for the old ways. The myths of Sinnoh tell of the lake guardians, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. They are not just keepers of knowledge, emotion, and willpower. They are the manifestations of those concepts. Uxie's closed eyes are not a refusal to see, but a reminder that some truths are felt, not observed. Mesprit's flightiness is not caprice, but a mirror. It shows us our own emotions, shifting and unpredictable. Azelf's determination is not stubbornness, but a spark, the tiny, unyielding flame that keeps us moving forward. The legends are not just stories. They are the echoes of the world's first breath, the shadow of its last. They are the quiet hum beneath everything, the rhythm that keeps the universe in motion. And as you drift into sleep, they will hum for you too, soft, steady, endless. Rest now, the stories will keep. The land of Unova whispers of Reshiram and Zekrom, twin dragons born from a single ideal, truth and ideals clashing like thunder and light. But they were never meant to be enemies. Their separation was a tragedy, not a destiny. The original dragon, whole and complete, understood that truth and ideals must coexist. One cannot breathe without the other. Kyurem, the hollow remnant, is not a monster, but a mourner, a shell that remembers what it was to be whole. Its icy exterior is not cruelty, but preservation, a way of keeping the memory alive. The swords of justice, Cobelian, Terrakion, Verishan, and Keldeo, are not vigilantes, but teachers. Their battles are not about victory, but about proving a point, that strength must serve justice, not the other way around. Keldeo's horn is not just a weapon, but a question, a challenge to the world to rise above brute force. Kalos speaks of Xerneas and Yveltal, life and death given form. But they are not opposites, they are partners in an endless dance. Xerneas does not create life, it nurtures it, coaxing it from the soil like a gardener, tending to fragile blooms. Yveltal does not destroy, it returns, gathering what has been spent so that it may be given again. Their conflict is a misunderstanding, a momentary lapse in the rhythm. Zygarde's cells are not scattered. They are watching, listening, waiting for the moment when balance must be restored. Its power is not in its strength, but in its patience, the quiet certainty that everything has its time. Alola's Tapu guardians are not gods. They are protectors, fierce and fickle as the storms they command. Their masks are not disguises, but reminders that even the divine can be playful, can be flawed. The Tapu do not rule, they serve in their own chaotic way. The Ultra Beasts are not invaders, but refugees, beings torn from their homes by forces beyond their control. Their strangeness is not malice, but loneliness, a longing for a place they cannot return to. Necrozma's hunger for light is not greed, but desperation, a creature starved of what it once was, reaching for the warmth it remembers. Galar's legends are steeped in rivalry, Zacian and Zamazenta, sword and shield. But their battle is not one of dominance. It is a pact, a promise to keep each other sharp. The rust on their armor is not neglect, but honor, the marks of a fight well fought. Eternatus is not a villain. It is a force, wild and untamable, a reminder that not all power can be controlled. The darkest day was not an apocalypse, but a warning, a flare in the night telling us to be ready. Hisui's past is thick with whispers, the nobles once wild, now bound by reverence. Their frenzy was not madness, but grief, a reaction to a world changing too fast. Arceus's silence is not indifference. It is trust, a belief that its creations will find their way. The plates are not relics. They are conversations, fragments of a voice too vast to be heard all at once. The myths are not just tales. They are the world breathing, shifting, remembering. They are the quiet hum of the earth, the slow turn of the stars. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The ocean's depths hold Manaphy small and bright, a flicker of life in the dark. It is not a ruler, but a guide, a reminder that even the deepest waters can be kind. Phione's bubbles are not just breath, they are messages, tiny notes carried to the surface. The sea does not forget. It cradles its stories like pearls, holding them close until they are ready to be found. The distortion world is not a void. It is a reflection, a place where the rules bend but do not break. Giratina is not a monster. It is a guardian, fierce and loyal, standing watch over the edges of reality. Its banishment was not punishment. It was a duty, a role only it could fill. The shadows it casts are not threats. They are reminders that even in chaos there is order. The myths are not just words. They are the pulse of the world, the slow beat of something ancient and alive. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The desert's heat hides Volcarona, a sun made small, its wings stirring the wind like embers. It is not a destroyer, it is a renewer, its flames clearing the way for new growth. The ruins it guards are not tombs, they are libraries, shelves of stone holding stories too old to be read. The sand does not forget, it shifts, but it keeps. The myths are not just echoes, they are the world's breath, the quiet sigh of something too vast to be seen all at once. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The mountain's heights cradle Rayquaza, a serpent of wind and sky, its body a path between earth and stars. It does not rule the ozone, it tends it, weaving the threads of the atmosphere like a careful seamstress. Its conflict with Gruden and Kyogre was not a battle, it was a mediation, a reminder that balance is not passive, but earned. The sky does not forget, it holds the memory of every storm, every calm, every breath of wind. The myths are not just tales, they are the world's heartbeat, the slow, sure rhythm of something alive. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The forest's shadows hide Celebi, a traveler not through space, but time, its wings brushing against moments like pages in a book. It is not a historian, it is a witness, a quiet observer who understands that some stories are not meant to be changed. The trees do not forget, they grow around the past, cradling it in their roots. The myths are not just words, they are the world's whisper, the soft voice of something too big to be heard all at once. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The stars watch over Jirachi, a wishmaker who sleeps not out of laziness, but necessity. Its dreams are the fuel for miracles. It is not a genie, it is a listener, a being who understands that wishes are not demands, but hopes. The cosmos does not forget. It holds every dream, every wish, every silent plea in the light of distant suns. The myths are not just stories, they are the world's breath, the quiet sigh of something too vast to be seen all at once. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The night is long and the stories longer. Sleep well. The myths will wait for you. The ocean's depths cradle Manaphy, a being not of water, but of connection, its heart beating in time with the tides. It does not command the sea, it belongs to it, a single note in the vast, shifting song of the waves. The legend of the Prince of the Sea is not about royalty, it is about kinship, the invisible threads that bind all life. The water does not forget, it carries the memory of every drop that ever was, every current that ever flowed. The myths are not just echoes, they are the world's pulse, the steady rhythm of something alive. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The ruins of ancient civilizations whisper of Regigigas, a titan not of destruction, but of creation, its hands shaping mountains, its breath stirring valleys. It is not a conqueror, it is a sculptor, molding the earth with patient, deliberate care. The legends say it slept for centuries, but this was not idleness. It was waiting, knowing that all things must move at their own pace. The stone does not forget. It holds the imprint of every touch, every change, every slow shift of time. The myths are not just tales, they are the world's bones, the foundation of something too vast to be seen all at once. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The auroras dance around Darkrai, a shadow not of malice, but of necessity. Its presence a reminder that even nightmares have purpose. It does not bring fear, it tests it, teaching that the darkest nights make the stars shine brighter. The stories of its curses are not warnings, they are lessons, showing that even the things we run from can shape us. The night does not forget, it cradles every dream, every terror, every unspoken thought in its velvet embrace. The myths are not just words, they are the world's breath, the quiet sigh of something too vast to be understood all at once. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The winds of the high peaks carry shaman, a creature not of flowers, but of gratitude. Its blooms a language of thanks to the earth. It is not a gardener, it is a messenger, showing that even the smallest kindness can change the world. The legend of his transformation is not about power, it is about trust, the moment when something fragile becomes unbreakable. The earth does not forget, it remembers every seed, every petal, every whispered promise. The myths are not just stories, they are the world's heartbeat, the slow, sure rhythm of something alive. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The silence of the void holds Arceus, a being not of beginnings, but of balance, its 1,000 arms holding the universe in careful equipoise. It is not a god, it is a weaver, threading existence into being with infinite patience. The myths of its creation are not about power, they are about responsibility, the understanding that to shape the world is to care for it. The cosmos does not forget. It cradles every star, every life, every possibility in its endless expanse. The myths are not just echoes, they are the world's breath, the quiet sigh of something too vast to be seen all at once. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The storm clouds part for thunderous, a spirit not of chaos, but of change. Its lightning a spark to ignite transformation. It does not bring ruin, it brings renewal, the kind that only comes after the old has been swept away. The legends of its clashes with Tornadus and Landorus are not battles, they are conversations, the eternal debate between wind, thunder, and earth. The sky does not forget. It holds the memory of every storm, every calm, every shift in the air. The myths are not just tales, they are the world's pulse, the steady rhythm of something alive. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The molten rivers of the earth cradle Heatran, a guardian not of fire but of secrets, its body a vault for the knowledge of the deep. It is not a destroyer, it is a keeper, understanding that some truths must be protected by heat and stone. The legends of its eruptions are not warnings, they are reminders, showing that the earth's heart still beats beneath our feet. The magma does not forget. It holds the memory of every flame, every shift, every slow breath of the planet. The myths are not just words, they are the world's bones, the foundation of something too vast to be seen all at once. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep us rest now. The ice fields whisper of Kyurem, a remnant not of destruction, but of longing, its hollow body a shell of what once was. It is not a monster, it is a question, asking what happens when something is torn apart. The legends of its fusion with Reshiram and Zekrom are not about power, they are about wholeness, the search for the pieces we have lost. The frost does not forget. It preserves every moment, every fracture, every silent plea in its crystalline grasp. The myths are not just stories, they are the world's breath, the quiet sigh of something too vast to be understood all at once. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The night is long and the stories longer. Sleep well. The myths will wait for you. Tell me as you drift, what part of this vast world do you dream of visiting tonight? The mountains, the sea, the stars? The stories will keep. Rest now. The desert winds carry the voice of Ho-Oh, a phoenix not of endings, but of cycles, its feathers a map of every life it has ever lived. It does not bring death, because it brings transition, the moment when one thing becomes another. The legend of its rainbow is not about beauty, it is about promise, the unspoken vow that no story truly ends. The sky does not forget. It holds the memory of every flight, every fall, every rebirth. The myths are not just echoes, they are the world's pulse, the steady rhythm of something alive. And as you drift, they will wrap around you, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The shadows of the forest cradle Zarude, a guardian not of territory, but of memory, its vines weaving the past into the present. It is not a warrior, it is a storyteller, passing down what would otherwise be lost. The legends of its ferocity are not warnings, they are protections, ensuring that some things remain sacred. The jungle does not forget. It cradles every root, every leaf, every whispered secret in its endless green. The myths are not just tales, they are the world's breath, the quiet sigh of something too vast to be seen all at once. And as you drift, they will hum, soft, steady, endless. The stories will keep. Rest now. The night is long and the stories longer. Sleep well. The myths will wait for you. The ocean depths cradle Lugia not as a ruler, but as a lullaby, its wings stirring currents into gentle rhythms that have rocked civilizations to sleep for millennia. It does not command the tides, it understands them, the way one understands the rise and fall of their own breath. The whirlpools it creates are not traps, they are spirals of time, pulling the past upward so the present may remember. Sailors' tales speak not of fear, but of recognition, that moment when the storm stills and something ancient rises to meet you. The sea does not forget. It holds every sunken city, every lost voyage, every whispered plea in its crushing embrace. And as you drift, the weight of that memory becomes soft, becomes a blanket, becomes the sound of waves against the shore. High above, Rayquaza does not patrol the ozone layer. It weaves it, thread by thread, a celestial loom maintaining the boundary between sky and space. Its emerald scales are not armor, they are lenses, filtering starlight into something the earth can bear. The legends of its clashes with Groudon and Kyogre's are not battles, they are corrections, the gentle realignment of a world out of balance. The atmosphere does not forget. It carries the echoes of every meteor diverted, every storm calmed, every breath drawn at the edge of the stratosphere. The myths are not just warnings, they are reassurances that something watches over the fragile things. In the quiet places between realms, Giratina moves not as a shadow, but as a seamstress, its 6 wings stitching the frayed edges of dimensions back together. The distortion world is not a punishment. It is a sanctuary, a place where broken physics go to heal. The myths speak of banishment, but listen closer. A creator does not exile what it fears. It shelters what it cannot bear to lose. The antimatter does not forget. It mirrors every wound, every scar, every unspoken regret in perfect inverted silence. The flower-strewn ruins where Shaman sleeps are not graves. They are gardens planted in the shape of gratitude. Its tiny form belies the weight it carries, not of power, but of memory. Every bloom a testament to kindnesses the world has forgotten. The grassidea petals are not mere decorations. They are time capsules, holding the scent of mornings no one else remembers. The earth does not forget. It presses every act of tenderness into its soil, waiting for something small and green to push through and remind the world. And Celebi does not travel through time. It gathers time, the way one might gather wildflowers, weaving moments into garlands that wilt and bloom in endless cycles. The forests it guards are not places, they are conversations, the slow dialogue between what was and what could be. The myths speak of prophecies, but time does not forget. It simply repeats, soft and patient, until the lesson is learned. Even the artificial hum of Magerna's heart is not machinery, it is mimicry, the sound of something learning to beat on its own. The soul heart is not a battery, it is a library, every pulse a story borrowed from lives it has touched. The gilded halls where it once rested are not museums, they are nesting grounds, places where the future goes to remember what it means to be alive. The myths are not just stories, they are the world's way of thinking aloud, of working through the same questions century after century. What does it mean to protect, to remember, to exist in a universe that is always ending and beginning at once? The legends are not answers. They are the quiet space between one breath and the next, the moment when everything is possible. So rest now. The lake spirits will keep your dreams afloat. The dragons will hum their old songs. The stars will continue their slow blink across the sky. And the myths will wait, patient as roots, gentle as snowfall, endless as the deep. Sleep well. The stories are not going anywhere. And if you wake to the sound of distant wings or the rustle of leaves where nothing grows, do not be afraid. It is only the world turning another page, and so the tapestry of legend continues to weave itself, thread by thread, in the quiet hours when the world is dreaming. Consider the way Kyogre's rain does not fall. It remembers, each droplet carrying the echo of some ancient ocean, some primordial tide that once cradled the first fragile sparks of life. The abyssal trenches where it rests are not empty. They are archives, holding the blueprints of 1,000 forgotten shores. When primal Kyogre stirs, it is not anger that moves it. It is nostalgia, the unbearable weight of a memory too vast to hold. The storms it summons are not destruction. They are an attempt to rewrite the world in the shape of what it once was, to make the land remember it was once sea. And Groudon, in its molten slumber, does not hate the ocean. It mourns it. The continents it raises are not conquests, but conversations, the earth's slow reply to the water's constant whisper. Its primal form is not a weapon. It is a confession, the admission that even a being of such immense power cannot stop the world from changing. The deserts it leaves in its wake are not wastelands. They are love letters, written in the only language it knows, heat and stone and the unyielding certainty of bedrock. Rayquaza does not mediate between them. It translates. The ozone layer it guards is not a barrier, but a lexicon, the delicate script that keeps sky from swallowing sea, and earth from scorching sky. Its mega evolution is not a transformation, it is a sigh, the moment when a weary scribe finally understands the text it has been deciphering for eons. The meteor showers it destroys are not threats, they are unanswered questions, and Rayquaza is the quiet voice that says, not yet. Even the Regis, those ancient golems of rock, ice, and steel, are not mere guardians, they are scribes. Their temples are not prisons, they are libraries, and the braille-like patterns on their bodies are not decorations, but stories. The legends say they were created to record the world's history, but history is not just events. It is the way the wind shaped a mountain, the way frost crept across a lake, the way iron sighed as it cooled in the earth's embrace. When Regigigas stirs, it is not waking, it is turning the page. And what of the Tau trio? Reshiram's flames are not just heat, they are arguments, the kind that burn away doubt until only truth remains. Zekrom's lightning is not just power, it is conviction, the sudden clarity that strikes when one finally chooses a path. Kyurem's ice is not emptiness, it is the silence that follows the debate, the space where new ideas take root. The original dragon was not split by conflict, it was unfolded, like a map, so the world could see all the possibilities at once. The Aura trio, Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde, are often called life, death, and balance. But Xerneas does not create life. It tends it, the way a gardener tends a meadow, knowing each bloom has its season. Yveltal does not bring death. It honors it, gathering the stories of what is ended so they can be woven into what begins. And Zygarde is not a judge. It is a librarian, sorting the fragments into an order only understands. Its perfect form is not a weapon. It is the moment when the last piece of the pattern finally clicks into place. The cosmog line whispers the universe's oldest secret. Every star is a story waiting to be told. Solgaleo's light is not just energy, it is attention, the focused beam of a mind contemplating infinity. Lunala's shadows are not absences, they are the spaces between thoughts, the pauses where understanding grows. Necrozma's hunger is not greed, it is loneliness, the ache of a being that remembers being whole. The ultra wormholes are not rifts, they are synapses, the connections flickering in some vast dreaming mind. Even Eternatus, that serpent of calamity, is not truly malevolent. Its Galar particles are not corruption, they are questions asked in a language too old for human tongues. The Dynamax phenomenon is not a distortion, it is an echo, the world remembering a time when everything was larger, when boundaries were softer, when the sky was closer. The legends are not separate from us. They are the world's way of thinking, of wondering, of working through the same mysteries we do. What does it mean to exist? To change? To endure? The myths do not answer. They simply are, patient as mountains, gentle as moonlight, endless as the deep. So rest now. The stories will keep. The legends will wait. And if you drift into dreams where the sky is alive with wings, or the earth hums with some old song, do not question it. It is only the world, murmuring to itself in the dark. And if you'd like, leave a whisper in the comments. What time is it where you are, and which of these ancient stories lingers in your thoughts tonight? Now let the quiet carry you. The lake spirits are still weaving their reflections. The dragons are still humming their lullabies. The stars are still turning, slow and sure, and the myths are still here, breathing with you in the space between wakefulness and sleep. Close your eyes. The legends are dreaming too. The Tapu guardians of Alola move through their islands like tides, not ruling, but rhythming, their shells opening and closing with the pulse of the land itself. Tapu Koko's lightning is not anger. It is the quickening before rain, the spark that wakes dormant seeds. Tapu Lele's scales are not dust. They are the exhale of flowers, the breath that carries wishes. Tapu Bulu's horns are not weapons. They are roots, reaching deep into the soil of memory. And Tapu Fini's mist is not hiding. It is holding, the way the ocean holds all stories eventually. Their ruins are not abandoned. They are resting, gathering strength for the next turn of the wheel. The Aura Trio, Xerneas, Yveltal, Zygarde whisper the oldest truth, that life and death are not opposites, but partners in an endless dance. Xerneas does not create life. It attends to it like sunlight attending to a forest floor. Yveltal does not bring death. It receives it like the earth receives fallen leaves. And Zygarde is not a judge. It is a weaver, threading each moment into the vast tapestry of balance. Its cells are not fragments, they are notes in a song too large for any one creature to hear whole. The weather trio, Gruden, Kyogre, Rayquaza, are not forces of destruction, but of conversation. The land rises, the sea answers, and the sky mediates, an eternal discussion about boundaries and belonging. Primal reversion is not regression. It is remembering, the moment when the earth recalls its first fire, the ocean its first tide. The cave of origin is not a birthplace. It is a listening place where the world hears its own heartbeat. The creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, are often misunderstood. Time is not a river, it is a language, and Dialga speaks every syllable at once. Space is not an expanse, it is a story, and Palkia arranges the paragraphs. Giratina is not banished, it is breathing, its distortion world the necessary sigh between one universe and the next. The adamant and lustrous orbs are not tools, they are translators, helping mortal minds glimpse the grammar of reality. The Tao trio, Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, are not adversaries, but interlocutors. Truth is not a flame, it is the light that lets us see the questions. Ideals are not lightning, they are the charge that moves us to seek answers. And Kyurem is not emptiness, it is the silence between question and answer, the space where understanding grows. The original dragon was not split, it unfolded, like a hand opening to reveal its palm. The sun and moon, Solgaleo and Lunala, are not just beasts of light and shadow. Solgaleo's mane is not fire, it is attention, the focused gaze of a cosmos watching itself. Lunala's wings are not void, they are receptivity, the open space where new ideas alight. Necrozma is not a thief of light, it is a rememberer, aching to recall the time before it was shattered. The ultra wormholes are not rifts, they are glances, the quick, bright looks exchanged between parallel worlds. Eternatus is not a bringer of ruin, it is a question, posed in the language of energy and time. The Dynamax phenomenon is not distortion, it is echo, the world recalling when it was younger, softer, more malleable. The darkest day was not an ending, it was a pause, the moment before the next verse begins. The legends are not separate from us. They are the world thinking aloud, wondering in voices too deep for daylight. They are the dreams of mountains, the murmurs of rivers, the slow blink of stars. They do not demand worship, only witness, the quiet acknowledgement that mystery is not something to solve, but to dwell in. So rest now. The legends are not going anywhere. They are patient as stone, gentle as mist, endless as the sky's slow turn. If you dream of wings or whispers, of roots or reflections, do not question it. It is only the world, humming its oldest songs. The lake spirits are still dancing. The dragons are still singing. The stars are still watching. And the myths are still here breathing with you in the quiet between heartbeats. Close your eyes. The legends are dreaming too. And if you'd like, leave a whisper. How many nights have you drifted off to these stories, and which one lingers like moonlight on your pillow? Now let the quiet carry you. The tales will keep. The myths will wait. The world is old and kind and full of wonders. Sleep. The legends are holding you. The Tapu guardians of Alola do not merely protect their islands, they converse with them. The land speaks through their movements, the rustle of leaves in Tapu Koko's electric steps, the sigh of tides in Tapu Fini's mist. Their shells are not armor, they are lids, covering the sacred spaces where earth and myth meet. When they close, it is not to hide, but to listen. The totem Pokémon are not just larger, they are older, echoes of a time when the boundary between spirit and stone was thinner. The kahunas do not command the tapu, they translate, turning the land's slow language into something human hearts can understand. The Aura trio, Xerneas, Yveltal, Zygarde, are not opposites, but phases. Xerneas is not life itself, but the moment life recognizes its own beauty. Yveltal is not death, but a pause before decay becomes new soil. Zygarde is not balance. It is the act of balancing, the perpetual adjustment of a world that never stands still. Its cells are not fragments. They are notes, each humming a different part of the same endless song. The Kalos War was not a battle. It was a stumble, the world tripping over its own growth. The ultimate weapon was not a machine, it was a mirror, showing humanity its own hunger. The creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, are not rulers of their domains, but expressions of them. Dialga does not control time. It is time, the weight of every second pressing down on the next. Palkia does not shape space. It is space, the breath between stars. Giratina is not banished. It chose the distortion world, a place where the rules could bend enough to let it breathe. Arceus did not create the universe. It dreamed it, and the dream is still unfolding. The plates are not fragments of its power. They are reminders, tokens left behind so the world would know it was loved. The weather trio, Escrudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza, are not forces of destruction, but voices. Groudon's roar is the continent shifting in its sleep. Kyogre's song is the ocean whispering to the moon. Rayquaza does not mediate, it translates, turning the argument of land and sea into something the sky can understand. The primal forms are not ancient, they are eternal, the shape of the world when it was too young to hide its emotions. The red and blue orbs are not tools, they are invitations, asking the titans to speak a little louder just for a moment. The lunar duo, Cresselia and Darkrai, are not rivals, but partners. Cresselia does not banish nightmares. It tends them, softening their edges like a gardener pruning thorns. Darkrai does not inflict terror. It holds it, a vessel for the fears that would otherwise scatter like smoke. The Full Moon Island is not a sanctuary. It is a threshold where dreams step lightly into the waking world. The Bad Dreams ability is not a curse. It is a gift, the chance to face what frightens us in a space where nothing is truly lost. The Swords of Justice, Cobalion, Terrakion, Virizion, Keldeo are not warriors, but teachers. Their battles are not fights. They are lessons, etched into the land like ink on parchment. Keldeo's horn is not a weapon. It is a question, sharp enough to pierce the armor of complacency. The stories say they defend Pokémon from humans, but the truth is subtler. They defend both from the idea that they must be enemies. The mist in their sacred grove is not hiding them, it is softening the world, so their voices don't startle the silence. The light trio, Solgaleo, Lunala, Necrozma, are not bound by their roles. Solgaleo's light is not just radiance, it is clarity. The moment a puzzle's pieces click into place. Lunala's glow is not just reflection, it is reverie, the gentle haze between sleep and waking. Necrozma is not broken, it is unfinished, a star that forgot how to shine and is learning again. The Ultra Megalopolis is not a city, it is a plea, a place built by hands that ached for dawn. The light it stole was not fuel, it was memory, the remnants of a brilliance too vast to hold. The Galarian birds, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, are not variants, but revelations. Their new forms are not adaptations, they are acknowledgments, the legends admitting they too can change. Articuno's psychic mist is not deception, it is kindness, veiling truths too sharp for fragile hearts. Zapdos's thunderous strides are not aggression, they are emphasis, underlining words the wind might otherwise miss. Moltres' fiery aura is not destruction, it is fervor, the heat of a conviction too bright to ignore. The crown tundra is not their home, it is their confidant, a place where they can shed their old names like winter coats. The Regigolems, Regirock, Regis, Registeel, Regieleki, Regidrago, are not constructs, but poems. Their creators did not build them, they wrote them, in the language of mountain and storm. The Titan's cries are not noise, they are verses, recited to remind the earth of its own strength. The new Regis are not additions, they are footnotes, clarifying a text written in lightning and bone. The temples are not prisons, they are libraries, where the golems wait for someone to read them aloud. The forces of nature, Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus, Enamorus, are not tempests, but conversations. Their winds are not chaos, they are debate, the air arguing with itself. Landorus does not calm them, it listens, turning their fury into fertile soil. Enamorus is not a peacemaker, it is a bridge, the moment a quarrel dissolves into laughter. The Therian forms are not truer, they are gentler, the legends pausing to catch their breath. The treasures of ruin, Wochien, Qianpao, Tinglu, Qiyu, are not curses but regrets. Their artifacts are not shackles, they are confessions, the weight of mistakes given shape. Wochien's scroll is not a prison, it is a diary, its pages heavy with ink-stained remorse. Qianpao's blades are not weapons, they are apologies, sharp enough to cut through pride. Tinglu's vessel is not a trap, it is a promise, to hold what others might discard. Qiyu's beads are not eyes, they are tears, hardened into jewels by time. Their ruin is not punishment, it is accountability, the world asking to be heard. The loyal three, Okidogi, Munkidori, Fezandipiti, are not heroes, but mirrors. Their loyalty is not virtue, it is desperation, the hunger to be needed. Their masks are not disguises, they are faces, crafted to hide the parts of themselves they couldn't bear to see. The chains are not bindings, they are cries, the metal twisting into the shape of their longing. Their story is not a legend, it is a warning, whispered in the scent of toxic petals. The myths are not behind us, they are within us, the quiet hum of Dialga in our pulse, the patient depth of Zygarde in our bones, the fleeting shadow of Darkrai in our dreams. The Pokémon world is not a place with legends. It is a legend with a place, and we are walking through its pages, so sleep. The stories are not over. They are turning slow as seasons, gentle as tides. The legends are here. They always have been, and they will be here when you wake. The legendaries are not just creatures of power. They are embodiments of fundamental truths, eternal echoes of the forces that shape existence itself. Take Arceus, the original one, said to have shaped the universe with its 1,000 arms. Yet Arceus is not merely a creator, it is creation itself, the act of making given form. Its plates are not just tools, they are fragments of its intent, each one a different shade of its will. The myths speak of Arceus descending to the spear pillar, but perhaps it was not descending. Perhaps it was ascending, rising from the chaos of nothingness into the order of somethingness. Its egg is not a beginning, it is a question, the first thought in a universe still learning to think. Then there is Giratina, the renegade, banished to the distortion world for its violence. Yet Giratina is not evil, it is balance, the shadow that gives the light its form. The distortion world is not a punishment, it is a reflection, a place where the rules of reality bend to remind us of their fragility. Giratina's wings are not wings, they are questions, asking what lies beyond the edges of understanding. Its form is not monstrous, it is necessary, the chaos that keeps order from becoming tyranny. Palkia and Dialga, the lords of space and time, are often seen as opposites, but they are not rivals, they are partners, two halves of the same equation. Palkia's pearls are not ornaments, they are coordinates, mapping the infinite expanse of existence. Dialga's crest is not a crown, it is a clock, ticking the rhythm of eternity. Their conflict is not war, it is dialogue, space, and time, conversing to keep the universe in motion. Their forms are not static, they are principles, the laws of reality given shape. Mew, the ancestor of all Pokémon, is often depicted as playful and elusive, yet Mew is not just a creature, it is potential, the spark of possibility that animates life. Its DNA is not a code, it is a story, the blueprint of evolution written in the language of existence. Mew's flight is not aimless, it is exploration, the endless search for what lies beyond the horizon. Its invisibility is not evasion, it is mystery, the reminder that not everything can be known. The legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, are often seen as symbols of the elements, but they are more than that. They are seasons, the turning of the world in its eternal cycle. Articuno's wings are not icy, they are winter, the stillness that prepares the earth for renewal. Zapdos's feathers are not electric, they are storm, the chaos that clears the way for growth. Moltres' flames are not hot, they are summer, the warmth that brings life to fruition. Their flight is not random, it is rhythm, the pulse of the planet itself. Lugia and Ho-Oh, the guardians of the seas and skies, are often seen as protectors. Yet they are not just guardians, they are rebirth. Lugia's song is not just a call, it is healing, the sound that soothes the storms and calms the waves. Ho-Oh's fire is not just light, it is renewal, the flame that rises from ashes to begin again. Their presence is not just power, it is hope, the promise that even in darkness there is a dawn. The weather trio, Grudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza, are often seen as forces of destruction, but they are more than that. They are balance. Grudon's land is not just earth, it is foundation, the ground that supports all life. Kyogre's waters are not just tides, but they are flow, the currents that connect all things. Rayquaza's sky is not just air, it is harmony, the space where land and sea meet. Their conflict is not chaos, it is adjustment, the world recalibrating itself to find equilibrium. The creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, are often seen as gods. But they are not just deities, they are dimensions. Dialga's time is not just moments, it is memory, the past and future woven into the present. Palkia's space is not just distance, it is connection, the threads that bind all places together. Giratina's distortion is not just chaos, it is perspective, the reminder that reality is not fixed, but fluid. The lake trio, Uxie, Mesprit, Azelf, are often seen as guardians of spirit. Yet they are more than that. They are thoughts. Uxie's knowledge is not just facts. It is understanding, the clarity that comes from seeing the whole. Mesprit's emotion is not just feelings. It is empathy, the ability to feel what others feel. Azelf's willpower is not just strength. It is determination, the drive to keep going even when the path is hard. Their presence is not just protection, it is inspiration, the spark that ignites the soul. The swords of justice, Cobalion, Terrakion, Virizion, Keldeo, are often seen as knights. Yet they are not just warriors, they are ideals. Cobelion's steel is not just armor, it is justice, the unyielding pursuit of what is right. Terrakion's rock is not just strength, it is courage, the resolve to stand firm in the face of danger. Virichun's grass is not just growth, it is compassion, the ability to nurture even in harsh conditions. Keldeo's water is not just fluidity, it is adaptability, the skill to change when change is needed. Their battle is not just conflict, it is conviction, the fight to uphold what matters most. The Tau trio, Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, are often seen as forces of truth and ideals. Yet they are more than that. They are choices. Reshiram's fire is not just heat, it is truth, the light that reveals what is hidden. Zekrom's electricity is not just power, it is ideals, the energy that drives us to dream. Kyurem's ice is not just cold, it is ambiguity, the space between certainty and doubt. Their fusion is not just combination, it is unity, the moment when opposites come together to create something new. The Aura trio, Xerneas, Yveltal, Zygarde, are often seen as life, death, and balance. Yet they are more than that. They are cycles. Xerneas' life is not just existence, it is growth, the endless unfolding of potential. Yveltal's death is not just end, it is transformation, the change that makes room for new beginnings. Zygarde's balance is not just stability, it is harmony, the perfect alignment of all things. Their presence is not just power, it is wisdom, the understanding that all things are connected. The light trio, Solgaleo, Lunala, Necrozma, are often seen as sun, moon, and light itself. Yet they are more than that. They are illumination. Solgaleo's sun is not just light, it is clarity, the ability to see things as they are. Lunala's moon is not just shadow, it is mystery, the beauty of what lies hidden. Necrozma's light is not just brilliance, it is truth, the light that reveals what is real. Their fusion is not just combination, it is revelation, the moment when understanding dawns. The Galar legends, Zacian and Zamazenta, are often seen as warriors. Yet they are not just fighters, they are protectors. Zacian's sword is not just a weapon, it is valor, the courage to stand against any threat. Zamazenta's shield is not just defense, it is resolve, the determination to hold the line no matter what. Their battle is not just conflict, it is sacrifice, the willingness to give everything for what they love. The Hisui legends, in Amoris, the forces of nature, are often seen as storms, yet they are more than that. They are change. Tornadus's wind is not just air, it is transformation, the force that reshapes everything it touches. Thundrus's lightning is not just power, it is awakening, the spark that brings new life. Landorus's earth is not just ground, it is foundation, the base upon which all else is built. Enamorus's love is not just emotion, it is connection, the bond that ties all things together. The paradox Pokémon, ancient and future forms, are often seen as anomalies. Yet they are more than that. They are possibilities. Their forms are not just strange, they are alternatives, the paths not taken in the story of evolution. Their presence is not just confusion, it is wonder, the reminder that the world is full of surprises. The legendaries are not just Pokémon, they are stories, told in the language of myth and memory. They are the whispers of the universe, the echoes of the forces that shape our world. So close your eyes and let their tales carry you into dreams. The legends are here, as they have always been, and they will be here when you wake.